we go. Get things going. All right. Well, welcome to Leadership Academy number 3. And obviously, unmute yourself. I was just watching the recording of last time. But when I ask how you're doing, you can actually make some noise this time. But how's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
All right. Good. Maybe you can type your comments in the chat as well. But welcome to Leadership Academy number 3. Really excited about our agenda. I know we've already posted it out there. We've got about 30 minutes of opening comments with just some mindset and attitude shifts that we're going to be rolling through. We've got Claire talking about skills, sales, and savings habits. She's got some really good stuff to deliver. We also have a recruiting skill topic. So today we're going to be putting in 100% of our time into thinking about what happens after the video, right? And what are the topics we talk about, and actually writing a stump speech. And I think veterans, this will help you out a lot too. And then we'll wrap up with a little bit of PR name collection and then a little bit of a phone jam as well. So it's going to be a fun 2 hours. If you're watching the recording right now, make sure that you are prepared to take detailed notes and email those to me and your manager once you finalized it if you were in a position where you missed it. So first off, I want to kick it off by just bragging about Great Plains Division. Holy crap. Here's the deal. You're in the right place at the right time with the right people. Our company is absolutely incredible. And I was talking to our district manager leaders and veterans this morning about what have you forgotten? And I've been here for 13 years, and there's so many things I forgot about, you know, how it felt to see the penny cup for the first time, right? How it felt to make my first phone call, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? How it felt to go out there and crush my first sale or hit my first promotion, right? And I was reminded of that when I went to a campus table yesterday, and we signed up for a career fair. Last week, we were out at TU, and I was with Carissa and Melissa. We had a phenomenal time, talked to over 50 sharp applicants, many of them direct scheduled. This week, we were at UCO. We had a great career fair there. We have 3 of them in the other room right now for an interview, super quality kids. And I just think about what we provide, what we offer. And is this not the best opportunity in a freaking world for somebody under the age of 25? Like, where else are you going to go to get what we offer? What other company is going to trust you with the responsibility that we do, right? What are the companies going to provide you with and equip you with the training and the skills and the accountability and the follow-up, right? And I think that so often I see people get to a point where they start taking what they've got here for granted. And they start thinking that, you know, just because things aren't going their way or the results aren't coming in, that the grass is greener on the other side. And I got to tell you that the grass is amazingly green here, but you've got to remember to give it sun and give it water and give it a little bit of love and attention, right? You got to make sure that you are actually pulling the weeds, right? And you're showing up for it. But man, in this position that I'm in right now, I get to have the opportunity and the pleasure of having the view from the top. And next week, we're going out to St. Louis. How cool is our company, by the way? We've got over 300 active offices right now, not including corporate workers. And our company is dropping hundreds of thousands of dollars. I am not exaggerating. We are paying for every person's flight for over 400 people to and from. We're paying for all their hotel transfers. We're paying for all of their hotel. And we're staying at an extremely nice hotel in St. Louis downtown. We also, by the way, are going to not just put them up one night, we're putting them up Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night before we fly them back on Friday. We're paying for all of their food. I'm talking like shrimp, and I'm talking steak, and I'm talking delicious, amazing catered events. And then the big kicker, we do a fun event every year. We're actually renting out the entire Anheuser-Busch St. Louis, Missouri factory for a private event for just us. Live music, free food, unlimited drinks, and fun, and we are going to have a blast. Unbelievable. Go DM, right? Hashtag go DM. And I got to tell you that that is an incredible feat that we do in itself, right? But we also get to go and not just build relationships and have fun. We get to go and learn. We get to go and reconnect. We get to go and be sold on how awesome our opportunity is. And we're going to bring that back and be prepared for your district manager, your division manager to be on absolute fire when we come back, right? Eric Soto, Kathy Kristen's on the agenda. We've got some of the region managers like Lloyd Reagan on the agenda, some of our executive workers on the agenda. It's going to be fabulous. And the cool thing is we record all those talks and then we post them out on Vector Connect. So if you're taking notes right now, I would write down the letters SLC. And if you want some of the best talks on management, on leadership, on growth, on running an office or any of that, just go to your document library, go to your library on Vector Connect, type in the video library, SLC, and you will see all of the talks from years and years of SLCs. We put this event on every single year. And the cool thing is Company pays for all of us to go, but you get all the content and the recordings for free. So that being said, I do want to discuss a little bit more about some really exciting things that we have going on right now, and just how awesome our division is. You know, if you didn't know, when I came out here in 2016, there was one office that was underperforming. They did like 40 grand, 50 grand, shut them down, opened up a bunch of our own, and we grew it to almost $980,000 in the first 8 months. Then in 2017, we grew that to over 2 million. 2018, we grew that to over 2.4 million. And this year, we are about to have an explosion of sales for the fall. And I can feel it. I can sense it. But what I'm most fired up about, it's 2020. And I am so excited about our $4 million mission. And I'm going to talk about what's going to help us get there. But before I do, I want to talk about who we've got in leadership roles. So one of the things I want to discuss is just our amazing district staff. And I know many of them are on right now, but I want to start off with Carissa. If you didn't know, Carissa Blevins right now running the North Tulsa office has been open now for her 4th campaign. She's on the verge of earning the BMW program, where the company pays up to $500 for a Black 3 Series BMW for you. Not bad. She also is going to St. Louis next week. She's in a kicker contest where when her office sets the goal of 50 grand for the fall, she gets to go to Paris for free. And check these numbers out, guys. She is currently 141% in growth with sales for the year, and she's at 78% in growth for recruiting for the year. And we are a recruiting business. So you want to talk about numbers and growth? She's definitely got that right now. She's over $100,000 for the year, #1 district in our division right now. Very tight race with Bailey, by the way, and the Norman office. So we'll see what these last 3 months produce. And she has had an extreme amount of growth in professionalism, in rapport building, and in just development of staff. She's got multiple candidates that are going to be going to Olean. We're fired up for that. So let's give Carissa a 1 clap on 3. 1, 2, 3. We also have Melissa Bender, and she's got a very sick dog right now, so she might be cleaning up vomit. That's probably why she doesn't have her camera on. But Melissa Bender running the South Tulsa office. I don't know if there's anybody in our division, maybe Claire comes close, that is as good at recruiting people as Melissa, making connections, attracting high quality people, running strong pre and post interviews. Her show to training is phenomenal, exceptional. And she, like, I almost feel like she's too picky because she gets such high quality kids. But honestly, she's just really good at attracting those types of people. She's 17% growth in sales for the year, 47% in growth for recruiting for the year, and just got married a couple weeks ago, and now she's in a position living out in Tulsa and really growing her business. We're fired up for her. So 1 clap for Melissa. 1, 2, 3. Next up, we have Tyler Daniels. And man, Tyler running our Stillwater office, our most veteran district that we have right now. Tyler is amazing at rapping. He's also produced music. Right now, he's also transitioning into possibly doing another company on the side. 14% growth in sales, having his best year ever, 21% growth in recruiting at $94,000 for the year right now. And he has successfully attracted and developed some of our top level candidates and some of our top level sales reps year after year. Last year, he had a kid that did well over 10 grand in their fast start. This year had Maddie do over 10 grand, just a really strong developer and really good productivity manager. So let's give him a 1 clap on 3. 1, 2, 3. We got our newly promoted district manager, Mr. Bailey Hellman, running the Norman OKC South office. And right now, check this out. His office has only been open for 4 months. They're already at $98,000 in sales. He's developed that team from scratch. By the way, you guys can't see it, but on my end, everybody here in the pilot's giving me eyebrows. Like good eyebrows. Like amazed by that eyebrows, right? And I can also share with you that Bailey right now in his first 4 months has literally doubled the previous manager in their first 4 months down in the same territory. So this just goes back to reminding us that your business, right, wherever it's at, sales rep, management-wise, whatever, it's a direct reflection of you. And what you put in is exactly what you're going to get out of it. And what I love about this business is we always say it's the manager, not the territory. We've had some of the best people ever, myself included, go to some top-level territories and totally suck, right? Like when I ran my branch in 2007, I got a district territory in Amarillo of 500,000 people. And they also offered me Farmington, New Mexico, which is like 120,000 people. It wasn't even a district territory. And I was like, all right, I'll go for Amarillo. That makes sense, right? Dude, I did 48 grand or 50 grand in sales. My buddy who went to Farmington did 160 grand in sales, right? it's always the manager, not the territory. And so Bailey's an exact example of that, crushing it right now. He also is number 37 out of 300 offices in our recruiting contest for the last 4 weeks. And he's got a shot at one more week getting into the top 30. And if he does so, he's going to win some really cool prizes in St. Louis. So one clap for Bailey. And I forgot to mention before I wrap this up, Bailey is the first manager ever to lead an office to $1 million a year and a $1.5 million a year in corporate history in the whole state of Oklahoma and Northwest Arkansas in the Great Plains Division. So congratulations. Great resume that you're building right now, and so excited about your future. Also has got some really strong development candidates. So one clap for Bailey. 1, 2, 3. All right. And then lastly, we have Ayame, and she's out running an interview right now. We got 7 people here on the pilot on a Thursday, by the way. It's amazing what campus recruiting and strong PR program can do. Super quality kids, but multiple first promotions in the first weekend. She's developed some top-level performances from her new recruits. What I'm really excited about, currently the pilot office is the number 8 office in the nation in recruiting for the contest. And we're at 23. We have a good shot at staying in that top 10, which will be one of the only times that we've ever been in the top 10 in recruiting in the nation for the SLC recruiting contest. So just, again, guys, you're in the right place at the right time with the right people. Take advantage of that and don't take what we offer here for granted. Sound cool? I want to talk about growth as well. We just got out of the OKC State Fair, and our events team is the #1 events team. If you didn't have a chance to stop by the booth, our booths were on fire. We had 4 of them, and they sold over 320,000 net CPO in the matter of just 12 days. Guys, that's incredible. And these guys were making what? Half, baby, right? You divide that by 2, it's 160 grand in generated revenue for themselves, right? Obviously, they got some expensive and costs of those things, but the reality is that you could work right now and be on the events team next year if you wanted to. And it's a pretty incredible opportunity if you think about it. So just wanted to share that with you. Pretty exciting. Tulsa just opened today, by the way. So if you're out in Tulsa, go to the State Fair. We got 2 booths. Last year, they did about 150 grand, but it's been 3 years since Josh Mueller, a $5 million rep, who initially started and sold a lot in Tulsa, right, has actually been at the booth working there. So we are expecting a quantum growth from his sales there. And also, the State Fair of Texas is just started in Dallas. And just so you guys know, down there in Dallas, they just got opened up today. And that show is actually about 24 days. Last year, they sold just under $1 million in 24 days. So I got to tell you, like, you're in the right place at the right time with the right people. It's an exciting time to be in our business. And from what I hear at SLC, they're going to announce some new things about productivity, about PR recruiting, about social media recruiting that is only going to enhance our company and make it even better for those of you that are in leadership roles. So I hope that this is helping, just sharing some of the hot news and some of the tips as we move forward. I want you to write down $4 million in 2020. And I want to talk about what it's going to take to get there. I think about in 2020, we have a shot at going after $4 million, which means we would be one of the only divisions to literally grow by 100%. And when I break down the numbers, what that demands is that the pilot office in Edmond does 2 million of that. I don't know if we have a shot at 2 million this year, but by gosh, we're going to work for it. But we got to do 2 million here. It's going to demand that there's 3 other managers that want to take it up above $400,000 to $500,000 in sales. Those are what we call our pillars, right? And that'll produce another $1 million to $1.2 million, right? And then it's going to take the remaining offices knocking out that other $800,000 to $1 million in sales, right? And in order for us to get to that $4 million mark, just to be clear, we have already shattered every other record since I took over out here, right? But I don't want to just continue growing. I want to have quantum leaps and bounds, right? I want our division to start to compete on a national scale. I want to put Oklahoma on the map. And I want people to know who we are and what we are known for, right? And I know that I've got leaders involved that want to be a part of that vision, a part of that journey for sure. And so in order for us to get there, right, we need leaders. That's the point, right? $4 million doesn't happen without great leaders. And when I think about great leadership, right, when I think about the 3 things that are going to get us to a $4 million a year, you've heard this before, but I'm going to say it again. Number 1, we've got to fill all our territories. We've got 40 potential spots to run offices throughout our division. We've got 5 open right now. We need 15 people to open up offices next year. And again, the territory you open doesn't matter, right? Manager makes the territory, territory doesn't make the manager. But I'm so fired up right now because what's it feel like when we do have that this time next year, 8 district offices, right? I just talked to a manager. I'm a part of a mastermind. I'll talk about that in a bit. But the manager said that currently he's out in the Northeast, but currently they have 104 people in their Leadership Academy. And out of the pilot alone, there's 44 people in Leadership Academy alone, out of just his office. Vision, bigger thinking, opportunity. How many people are we impacting with what we've got to offer? And I think about what 1 year has already done and what another year can do. And $1 million in growth sounds pretty exciting. So we need full development, full deployment. By the way, I know some of you are new to this. This is the first time you're listening to the recording, first time you're at one of these meetings. I got to share with you that if you do the right things, it's not too late to open an office, not too late for you to go to Olean, and a lot of the other things too. The second thing it's going to take that you can jot down is pillar leadership. We need people who are going to get serious about running a top office. And the power of consistency cannot be spoken of enough. You know, I was talking to Brandon Cobb earlier today, and I was talking about how I think that so many people underestimate what being consistent can do for them. What just building a system of selling 1,000 a week and hitting the newsletter can do for them. You realize that if this were your job, right? You've all had other jobs you've stuck with that you didn't like, but you did them anyway. They didn't pay you well. They didn't appreciate you, but you stuck around. You did them for probably a year, maybe longer. Well, you realize that at this job, if you took it and you just got good at selling 1,000 a week, no more, you never went after a push, but you average that. For 52 weeks, you'd sell over 50 grand. And if you're at zero and this was your first year, you'd earn over $20,000 and be promoted 6 times. Even if you never went into leadership. What would that do for your resume? What would that do for your ability to earn a great job in the future? And at the same time, I want to talk about being a manager, being a district manager year round. You know, there's 52 weeks in the year. So selling just $5K a week, which by the way is selling less than $1,000 a day as an office on average. And it's not always going to come out to that, right? But even if you're selling just less than $1,000 a day throughout the year, you never had SC2 push, you never had the January incentive or any of those other seasons, $5K a week for 52 weeks, guys, you're shipping 260 grand a year. You're making more than the average American for sure, getting to run your own business, have a flexible schedule, and change people's lives. That's incredible, right? So the power of consistency. So what we need is pillar leadership. And you think about 260 grand if you're selling 5K. Well, what happens if you build your business to average 10K? Maybe more in the summer and less in the non-summer, but I'll tell you this, that'd be a $500,000 office. You're bringing home after expenses 100 G's a year for sure, right? Driving a brand new Black 3 Series Beamer, traveling the world for free, being able to develop people, change people's lives, being able to offer a life-changing opportunity. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. And lastly, right, other than pillar leadership, is we need full staffing. We need every office to get to a point where they have 7 or more assistant managers. Branches this summer, we need you to have 4 or more, right? So what are we doing to add layers? What are we doing to attract high quality talent and people? You know, all it takes is for you to go to an interview or for you to go to a career fair and talk to somebody about what we offer. And the number one thing I heard yesterday at UCO, too good to be true. Jobs like that don't exist. That's too good to be true. And people always ask, what's the catch? Well, the catch is the couch. The catch is you. The catch is you not putting in the necessary effort or doing the necessary activities to go out there and earn it, right? And I love how humble this job keeps people. And I think that that's pretty powerful as well. So that being said, I want to talk a little bit about how great our company really is. I just got a letter from Jim Stitt. This is pretty cool. If you're not promoting gift sets, you probably should. This is the new gift box that we're using. It's got a magnetic cover. It opens up, and on the inside, this is what it looks like. It's incredible. They offer you a product, right? Promotion catalog. This is one of the pieces that we get. It's a red Santoku, and they engraved it with Cutco 70 years on it, right? Just to commemorate that. And they sent it out to some of our top offices. And what I love about it is inside the box, right? Because it's a gift set. Here's what it says. Welcome to the Cutco family. The person who gave you this gift believes you deserve the very best, and so do we. Your new Cutco was crafted by skilled professionals and made to the highest standards of excellence. We are committed to providing families with high-quality products backed by our exclusive Forever Guarantee. Since 1949, Cutco has built memories in kitchens across North America. We hope your new Cutco is the beginning of many great traditions at your table for years to come. Every gift box looks like that, and every gift box has that message. Are you promoting gift sets? By the way, in addition to that, I got a letter in the mail with it, and it's from Jim Stitt. And this is how incredible our company is. By the way, this is the guy that you get to meet at Olean, walk through his office, and shake his hand. If you're not signed up for Olean, get signed up, right? And here's what it says. It says, Nick, as I prepare to head to SLC in St. Louis next week, I wanted to take a moment to say thank you. I'm very grateful for the loyalty and commitment you bring to our organization each and every day. There are many special things about our business, the world-class product, our Vector program, our amazing culture, and our 70 years of history, just to name a few. Part of what allows these things to be so special is the consistency in your unceasing leadership. It takes strong relationships to build greatness in an organization, and it takes time to build strong relationships. You've displayed a tremendous ability to build those relationships, and for that, I thank you for choosing Vector as a career and for being an integral part of our very special company. Please accept this special piece of exclusive Cutco as a symbol of my appreciation to your committed leadership in our business. Hopefully it will remind you about the amazing business you've helped build and so many more great years to come. Go ahead. Try to find another company like that. Good luck. I'm sure they exist. But you know what I love most about our company is the integrity that I have. I talked about a mastermind group I just put together with 6 of the best division managers that are at my level, and I'm building relationships. We just had our first call today. We're doing monthly calls, and that was special. But what was really special for me today is my front row dads call. And these are business owners all throughout the United States that I'm learning how to be a better dad with. And during the call, we talked about having kids and having access to electronics and social media. And one of the things that they discussed is how to balance that, how to properly make sure that your kids are on and off and at the right times, and how to make sure that we're setting good examples for them because we're always on our phones too. And you know what I found? I found out that Facebook, the owners, I should say, publicly say this, of Facebook, Apple, Google, social media like Instagram, the owners and operators of those companies don't even let their own children have iPhones and access to those public sites or iPads. They publicly say that. They don't want their kids using their own product. They make a lot of money off their products, and they share a lot of content with their products, and their products, man, they do wonders. I get that. But they won't even let their own children use their products because they know that their products are not in the best interest of growing an individual. My question to you then would be, what kind of leader are you if you don't want your own family using the product that you sell? Nothing against those, by the way. I'm not bashing any of those companies. I think they've done wonders for the world, and there's a lot of good that comes from them, yes? But I love that as a business owner, I never have to go home questioning what I did that day, questioning what I represent, questioning what I sell. I can go home every single day with an extremely high level of integrity, enthusiasm, and excitement for who I am, what I represent, and what I'm growing and developing. And not once in 13 years have I questioned my integrity with what I do or how I do it. Not once in 13 years have I questioned the integrity of the leadership in our company. And that's not something I think that some of those other companies can say. I'm not worried about Vector Marketing going down because of some poor level of leader that was above me. In other words, I personally know Bruce Goodman. He knows the names of my kids. That's an intimate company that I want to be a major part of. So that being said, right, what are the things that, and here's a question you want to write down and respond to. What are the things that you have at Vector that are tough to find anywhere else? Not impossible, but tough to find anywhere else. And when's the last time you thought about that? People who care more about more about people than they do about profit. People that care more about your growth and who you're becoming than how much you sold last week. A company that's willing to go out of their way to help you, not just professionally, but also personally. A company who's willing to believe in you more than maybe you even believe in yourself. A company that's patient, a company that doesn't have quotas and writes you up when you make mistakes. I don't know any other company that's as forgiving as Vector Marketing. And those are just a few things. What are they for you? And have you thought about that? You know, an organization cannot become the best version of itself unless its people are committed to becoming the best version of themselves. So my real question to you right now is, as we move into our content today, is what level of leader have you been recently? And what do you need to do to level up? On a scale of 1 to 10 right now, 10 being the highest, what kind of leader have you been? And I just want to remind everybody that actions speak louder than words. Things like consistently posting on the GroupMe. Our Leadership Academy GroupMe could have a lot of an improvement with the chatter and the shares and what we're doing. I get the honor of having one-on-one calls with almost all of you every week. And when I have those calls, y'all share such amazing updates. But then I'm like, why am I surprised by this? I should already know about it because it's on GroupMe, right? I'm on the Rocky Mountain branch GroupMe right now. Yesterday alone, they had over 36 different posts on their GroupMe in one day. That's probably more than we've had in the last 2 weeks, right? So my challenge to you is, how do you level up your influence as a leader? Because ultimately leadership is just influence, isn't it? It's impact, it's helping people, it's sharing things, it's letting them grow. So some questions for you, right? How obsessed are you with becoming a better version of you? I love Britton. He talks about be obsessed or be average, right? Pretty cool slogan there. But I also think about this. What are the things that I'm looking for right now from you guys? Well, here's some things to jot down and think about. I'm looking for an improvement with your attitude. Are you the most positive person always? Now I was thinking about Claire. Claire went through a pretty dramatic transition in her life recently, and she called me that day, and she just opened up and a little bit of bitching, a little bit of crying, a little bit of conversating, and then went out there and sold a signature set. That's a true champion, right? When you're in a terrible state of mind and you still get great results, right? We tell you from the very beginning when you're in your interview and training that we'll never judge you on results. We judge you on positive attitude, great work ethic, and healthy communication. That's it. You do those 3 things, you'll always be one of our top reps. I've never fired somebody for poor results, but I've definitely fired people because of negative attitudes or laziness and complacency, right? Or not communicating. Pretty cool, right? What really matters to us? Here's another thing, your work ethic, right? How hard are you actually working? Are you letting your excuses hold you back? Are you letting your fears hold you back? Life is scary. Life is uncertain. So at some point, you're going to have to face it anyway. So what are you letting hold you back right now? And how are you going to get over that and move into it, move forward with it? When you have challenges, do you run away or do you lean into those problems? Here's another one, personal growth. How are you becoming a better you? Right? The true character of an individual can be found when nobody else is watching. And people are recognized publicly for countless hours of effort and grind privately. You just never see that. When's the last time you looked at the Leadership Academy packet and you looked at the 4 books? How many of those books have you read? And what if you read a book a month every single time? 8 books read between now and when you open an office, guaranteed you're going to be a better leader. Right? Let's review them real quick. But the 1 Minute Manager, right? That's one of them we should be reading. And I loved Adam Goff. He's like, dude, I just got all my books and I ordered it on Amazon. That's the first step, having them. You can't really read something if you don't have it, right? So get it. And then once you have it, oh my gosh, you're 99% more likely to read that thing because you have it. So go out and get it. Ask somebody to buy it for you, whatever it takes, right? Number 2, where you need to be at. We need to be reading the book, right? The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. Learning more about your finances, learning more about management, right? Have you checked that one off the list, right? A third one is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Incredible, right? And if you have read these books, when's the last time? Do you need to reread them? Here's another book I think about, right? Another book I think about is The Dream Manager by Matthew Kelly. Right, and the last one is The Leader Who Had No Title. And that's by Robin Sharma. If there is another book you want to pick up, I know Britton's really big into reading and things like that. Awesome. Post that out there in GroupMe. Share it with everybody. Let's make it happen. But these are the things that we should be focused on and working towards as we move forward. A couple last things about our leadership potential as a candidate, right? What are you learning? It's one thing to say, oh, that didn't go the way I planned, but some of the best experiences that I've had have come in the worst results. Right? I didn't get what, I like the quote, what's bad for your ego is great for your character. So when something like hits your ego hard and sucks, well, it's great for your character and it's making you better. It's growing you, right? Some of the best growth moments I've had in my 13-year career with this company have been in the worst times. And in the moment, it sucked. I hated it. But you know what? They become the best stories later on. So what are you learning every day? What are you learning every week? I'm challenging my kids every day when I go home and see them. I say, hey, what's something you learned today? And the number one response I get, which really scares me about our education system, is I don't know. I don't know. Hey, tell me one new thing you learned in school today. Oh, Dad, I just don't know. Right. Well, if you did know, what would that be? That's always my response. If you thought hard about it, what would it be, Tyler? Just teach me one thing, man. I just want to learn from you. And it's so frustrating and irritating that they're not engaged in school enough to come home and want to talk to their parents and say, oh my gosh, Dad, I did this and I learned this and it was so exciting. That scares me. And by the way, we were those students too. When we came home from school, how was your day at school today? Fine. How was your day at school? Good. All right. Isn't that an issue? Doesn't that concern you? And when you have parent or when you have kids and you become a parent, I'm sure it will. So learning, development, and growth. Yes? All right. As I wrap this up, I may go a little bit long, but I want to bring Claire up, is I want to remind you of triple threat, right? Don't forget, it is your responsibility and duty as an assistant manager and as a candidate, whether you're in an office or not, to hit triple threat. What is triple threat? Well, triple threat means that you do 3 things every campaign. We have 3 campaigns throughout the year. I went off on this on the last recording. I'm going to talk about it again. But number 1, you're selling 10K every campaign. Guys, there is still a total of 14 weeks left for the fall campaign. Even if you sold less than 1,000 a week, you would sell over 10K. Literally, do 3 to 5 demos a week for MAC clients, and you shouldn't have a problem doing that, right? Not to mention the benefits are extraordinary when you do it. Number 2, booking 50 or more PRs. You should give yourself an assessment at Every Leadership Academy. How many PRs have you booked so far, right? And then we can look at the show percentage and the scheduling percentage, but just book them, right? They can be your own PRs, they can be somebody else's PRs, but are you putting in that time and that energy? You cannot fail running an office if you're good at recruiting, right? Because we're a recruiting company. Master that one thing and the rest will figure itself out. And the third and final one is getting 3 friends on the team and being a team builder. Who are you sharing the opportunity with? And here's my assignments for you, right? If you want to knock those things out, here's what I recommend. Number 1, always have 5 demos ahead of you. If you have 5 demos ahead of you, you're going to hit dirty 30. You're going to sell 10K. But if I quiz you right now, how many do you got ahead? Number 2, I was talking to Brandy. He's like, dude, 5's lame. I'm going to book 7, right? Or whatever. I don't care what your number is as long as it's over 5. Number 2, book 5 PRs a week. You book 5 PRs a week for the next 14 weeks, you booked a heck of a lot more than 50, haven't you? And how long does it take to book 5 PRs? An hour if things go well, 2 hours if things don't go well, 3 hours if you really struggled at it. But you know what? That's not a lot of time per week to learn how to master phoning, master handling objections, master rapport building, right? And master recruiting. Cool? And the third and final thing is to get 3 friends on the team, talk about it, and share it on social media 2 times a week. Once before your blitz day on Monday, once before your staff meeting or team meeting on Thursday, or at the team meeting, I don't care. But how much are we sharing the opportunity? How much do we believe that people need to see the opportunity? Does that make sense? So where are you at with your triple threat as you move forward? All right. Last few things I want to get through, guys. Personal development power, right? I want you to think about October as the month for hyper growth. Monday is the last day of September, and Tuesday is the first day of October. Starting Tuesday, right? If you were to spend the next 4 days planning out how you wanted to grow and what you were going to do for growth, what could you do with the 31 days in October before Halloween? I think about Halloween. It's my daughter's favorite holiday. She loves it. She's already looking at me. She's like, Dad, we need to start decorating tomorrow. I'm like, it's not even October. She's like, I know, but we need ghosts and pumpkins. Come on, right? She's like 6. She's so pumped about that. Well, I think about Halloween's coming, right? Scary growth. Like, more growth in the next month than you've had in the last year. I want you to think about that because for many of you, how far you've come over the last year, can you imagine what would happen in growing more in 1 month than you did in the year and what that would do to set you up for the second half of the fall? 4 weeks from now, right? 4.5, we're into the second half. It's halftime, baby. And now we got November and December. For some of you, you need to realize that we're literally 8 weeks away from our January program and our massive recruiting department gearing up in December to get the top level people on the squad, right? It's going to be fun. That also means that we're literally 12 weeks away from the January incentive contest where you sell 10K in the first 16 days of the year. And what happens? You go out there and you're able to win a trip to the Caribbean for 4 days, 3 nights, all inclusive. Remember that trip that you had to sell 20 grand in your fast start for? Yeah, you sell 10K in the first 16 days, you're going on the same trip. By the way, that means you're selling literally half as much and you get more time. Why would you not go after it? That's right when I started, right? That's what's coming. That's what we're looking forward to. So I want you to make a plan for yourself, right? And that is one of your assignments. What is your growth plan? What are you committed to doing in the 30 days of October? And what does that look like for you? October also involves Olean. And I know that we've had a lot of veterans go to Olean. We have a lot of people excited about going to Olean, but a couple of dates on the Olean trip. I'm not going to brag about it or everything, but here's the deal, right? A couple of dates that you need to know about, okay? October 8th is the deadline to sign up. Now, currently, there's over 165 people that are signed up. We've never taken this big of a group to Olean before. Because for the first time ever, we get Olean to ourselves instead of having to share it with another region. Fire restrictions, too many people being in the factory held us back in the past, but finally nobody else will be out there with us except for us. So we get to bring as many as we want. That being said, 2 qualifications to qualify. Number 1, you got to be over 6K in sales. How bad do you really want it? Because anybody can make that happen, right? And number 2, you got to have $600 in savings and startup. And I know Claire is going to talk a little bit about how to get that done. But I want to share with everybody right now, the deadline to sign up is the 8th. The sooner you sign up, the better. And just so you know, you don't have to have those 2 things checked off to sign up. You can sign up today, right, as long as you're over 2K in career sales. So that's just something for thought. And then the 14th of October is when you need to have met the deadline for 6K plus in sales and $600 in savings. And again, even if you're not committed to running an office, go anyway. It's worth it, right? And this is it is the only way for you to go out and experience the factory, meet the CEO, see people making the product, visit Niagara Falls. I mean, it's the trip of a lifetime, right? And you don't want to miss it. Sound cool? So Olean's coming up. The biggest thing I can teach you about Olean is to sell your homemaker or Galliana trade-in or essentials, right, before you go. Don't wait until after, because then you feel guilty. Then you feel like you've done the thing, but you haven't paid for the thing, right? Get it done now. So what are some tips I have on that? Well, A, talk about it. B, ask people to help you and sponsor you, right? C, right, let's make sure we do more demos, right? And D, let's just make sure that we're talking to our family and our past clients about it. Cutco is an incredible product. And people are so much more likely to buy it when they know that it's going to help you in going to that event and being a part of it. Everybody with me on that? So guys, if you need help, call me, talk to me, talk to the veterans on how they got it done. But we need to be in a position where we're getting everybody signed up, right? Our goal, by the way, was to bring 30 people to the event. Currently, we only have a total of 15 signed up right now. Does that make sense? So there is room, and we want you there. And you want you there. I promise you that, whether you know it or not, right? And it is definitely not too late to be able to get yourself on there and be a part of it. So how often are we talking about it? I know we got Ryland in our office right now. We're already talking about it. He's not at the quotas yet, but he's working towards it, and he can do big things. All it takes is one good order, one good weekend. Everything changes, right? So put in the time, put in the effort. It is well worth it. Sound fair? All right, fantastic. So next thing that I'd like to discuss and talk about is startup, savings, and skill sets. And I do want to share a couple of tips on that afterwards as we move forward. But to be respectful of time, we have Claire Beckman. She's going to give us her best 20 minutes before she's got to jump off for a meeting. But Claire was the pilot manager this summer, 3-year veteran, 55,000 plus in sales. And she's got over $2,300 saved to open up her branch office right now. She's going after a $30,000 goal for the fall. She won a trip to Paris with the company this upcoming year. And she is somebody that is just taking her growth and her leadership opportunity to a whole nother level. So Claire, I'm going to throw you up on the big screen. We are all ears. I'll turn around the camera for you. And then after that, we'll get going from there. But the floor is all yours. Let me go ahead and pen and keynote your speaking message, and you can take it away.
All right. Here, one sec. Okay. So, I love what Nick was just talking about before, because I wanted to hit things before I go into the savings and the financial stuff, because I've realized a lot just as mainly being a full-time student and being involved in a lot of other activities and then going after scholarship and then being involved in Leadership Academy. I've just had a lot of realizations lately, and I wanted to share them with you guys. So I think a lot of the time, I've been through Leadership Academy, by the way, about, I think 3 times. This is my 3rd or 4th time. I can't remember. But what I do remember is that most of the time I haven't actually taken it seriously, and I haven't committed to that. Read the books and done everything in order to be successful with running a branch or even doing any kind of form of management, whether that's assistant management or being pilot. And so I've had a huge mindset shift about what Cutco is. And I think that when we look at this at Branch and everything, we just need to remove like all of the stuff about Cutco and Vector and look at the actual facts about what's in front of us. And so here's what I've realized, and I wanted to share with you guys. People have said this before, but this is like coming from me as a student, and just some things that I've heard from other business owners and people that are successful. So right now, all of us are young adults. We're like 18, 19, 20 years old. And a company, it's not just an average company, by the way. This is a large marketing corporation that was rated in the top 20 companies in 2018 to work for. And they're going to provide you with months of free training and material. They're going to give you $8,000 in startup funds, that you have an opportunity to run an office for 3 months over the summer with no strings attached. Plus, they'll bump you up to 50% commission, straight 50% commission at the end of those 3 months, just so you have a better incentive to make more cash, and you can make up for it if your office didn't do as well as you expected. And you win a free trip to somewhere around the world. I don't know where it's going to be. That's kind of what I've realized a lot over the past couple months, and especially over the past couple weeks. And I've just been thinking, like, you'd be crazy if you didn't leap into that opportunity. And a lot of my friends that know what I'm doing, they've been telling me lately, like, Claire, you're going to be going places. And this isn't me preaching to them about Cutco. I don't like doing that. This is just them seeing what I'm doing and hearing the way that I talk and the way that I communicate. And all of that's just resume experience. That's not including like the mental toughness and the emotional intelligence that you learn. But that's a whole nother topic, and I could talk about that for hours. But if you follow any kind of business coaches or life coaches like Grant Cardone or Tony Robbins, they highly encourage these kinds of experiences with what offering all of us right now. And it's crazy to think before that I didn't actually take this seriously, and I kind of just was involved in Vector and in Leadership Academy just because I liked the environment, I liked the positivity. But that's really not, I think, the right way to approach all of this, because we're being handed this money and a really awesome opportunity to expand that and make that even more. And you have the potential to whatever, graduate debt free and pay your tuition or buy a house, whatever your goals are, And I think that it's comforting to know, if you guys know my story, my older brother did Cutco, and he ran a branch office. His office tanked. Like it sucked. I think that they didn't even hit 50K for the summer, and might have been like 38,000, something like that. But he still $1,000 that summer. So he was able to pay for the next semester of school. He won a trip to Munich, Germany. And to this day, he still preaches about the opportunity of running a branch office, even though he didn't do that well. And I remember him, like, that was the hardest summer of his life. And he still talks about it and why I need to do it. And he's like, Claire, you cannot not do branch. You have to do it whether it goes well or whether it just kicks your butt, And so I think about myself as a college student, and this is the best time right now to grow your skill sets, your resume, your leadership skills, saving skills, which we're going to talk about. And I think after college, those of you that have graduated college, and what I've heard from graduates is that you're going to find it to be a lot harder to find opportunities where you really have nothing to lose but everything to gain, like what Vector provides. And so students do look at college a lot of the time just as a buffer for actually stepping into the real world. But right now you're in the real world, and I think that you have to recognize that right now everything that you do over the next couple years is going to be what launches your success and wherever that leads, whether it's continuing with Vector or moving on into something else. And I know personally for me, I want to do everything that I can to set me apart from anyone my age that I would be competing against in the actual like real world, and that we're already in, And so I've been talking to a lot of business owners and professionals lately, and everyone says something really similar and along these lines. And they say that the importance in college is to set yourself apart from your peers, instead of just going through the motions and then eventually being too late. And so you can take advantage of everything that you have now. And so with all of that, that kind of leads me into what I'm going to be talking about and what my message is. And savings is one of the biggest things I think young people don't learn and what they miss out on. And also, I was just thinking about, like, why are so many people in so much debt in the U.S.? And I was reading a report today, which was just funny that I was giving this message, but I saw that college students in the U.S. combined have a total of $1.5 trillion in debt. That's not millions, that's not billions, it's $1 trillion. And so there's so many people that are just like taking loans out and all of this stuff, and they're not actually learning how to save and pay for things. And so I know that I don't want to be a part of that number. And so learning how to now is going to play a big role in everything else that I do in my life, because if I don't learn that now, then when am I going to learn it? And so I'm mainly I want to speak from my experience with saving habits. In the past, I haven't been the best with money. I think my first summer I made over $2,000 and it was gone like the next month after I was starting school. So I know what it's like. I know it's hard, and I'm not saying I'm Dave Ramsey or anyone good, but I've learned a lot of real people like Dave Ramsey and just key people within Vector that do have really good habits. And so I just want to share that with you. And I decided this fall just to commit to the right actions. And that's placed me in a really good position. Just heading into my branch summer is giving me a lot more confidence. And so on to the juicy topic. So first thing that I want to talk about, and you guys can take notes on things that just resonate with you, but the first thing is why save? Like why should you be saving? And so the big thing for me is that it's just good to learn it now than when you actually are on your own. And so anyone on this call that is on their own and they're living on their own, I'm sure they know that it's really important to know how to save. And so most college students don't save anything. They just rack up debt. They take for save. And my goal, and this is what I saw, Wes Frank's pilot post something in a group me over the summer, and she was saying, like, my goal is to have more in savings than most of my friends have in debt by the time that I graduate. And I just thought that was so cool, and I instantly put that on my list of goals for my 3-year goals. And so think about that. How much do you want to have in savings? And how much do you not want to have in debt? And just envisioning that for yourself. So it sets you up for the future in a really big way. And then also just imagine at the end of every semester or summer, if you're taking loans out, just imagine being able to just cut a check and pay off your loans every single semester, at the end of every single year. How much peace would that give you? Money is the number one cause of stress. And so what are you doing to eliminate that from your life? Because stress isn't good for anyone. What would be even better is to cut a check at the beginning of every single semester and not take any loans out. And it was really cool. I went to pay tuition yesterday, and it just felt really good because I've just been stressing out about that with paying it. And it was just awesome. I just wrote a check and I was like, here you go. And I don't have to worry about paying off a ton of loans. So this is what Vector is teaching you guys, and what it's teaching me, and what I've learned from it. And I'm still always learning more. I've found that it's like I'll never know enough, and I'm always going to keep learning how to have better savings habits and financial habits. So for a long time, I did look at saving as a really annoying thing, and I just got annoyed when people would talk about it. But I realized that that's an annoying mindset to have. Like that was annoying for me to do that. So it's okay. And if you feel the same way, I get you. So, second thing that I want to talk about is why you want to have a solid startup. And this is with your withholdings and all your savings for branch. So why do you want that? Well, the first obvious one is that you're going to need to have extra cash for the extra things. And so all of the money that Vector is going to give you, that gives you it's really good. It's helpful, but you're going to still need to have your own money to pay for, things like the office supplies and chairs and desks and Wi-Fi, you'll find that, any kind of business you ever run, it can be expensive. And so if you want to really make your office look good and you want to feel really confident, you're going to want to have a good amount in your startup. And so you really need to prep now, because you can't wait. It's a lot easier to set aside 25 or 50 bucks a week than try to find a way to put $4,000 in savings in just 1 month before the summer starts. And I've seen people do that, and they've gotten there, but it's been incredibly stressful. And $25 a week, a lot of us can afford that. So next part with that, with startup, is with the confidence and the comfort. So something on that is that the company needs to have confidence in you to give you the startup. I just think, like, if it was any other company that maybe didn't focus so much on young people, that would be such a unintelligent thing to, like, or maybe not unintelligent, but it would not be a smart business move if I'm thinking of myself as a CEO to give this thousands of dollars to someone doesn't have a lot of money in their savings. That wouldn't give me a lot of confidence in them. And so that I just try to think that about myself, is what does Vector think of me and where I'm at with my savings. And then also, you want to know that you're all set and then just scrape by. You're going to be working constantly over whether you're being a DM or a branch, but you don't want to have to be worrying about money. You want to be able to focus 100% on your business. And so if you're worrying about your savings and where you're at financially, that's going to actually hold you back from being able to perform at the highest level. And then you might actually, like, not use all the savings that you have in your withholdings, because I know for my brother, he actually didn't use all of his savings. And so it was nice at the end of the summer, he had about $6,000 going into branch. And so he had about 3,000 left at the end of branch. So it's really to be able to put you in a place. I've also known people that have used all of their savings. So that's why you need to, like, hit your savings goal. One cool thing about Olean to know is that there's a competition for people with the highest in savings. And so I actually got to get a picture with Jim Stitt. I don't remember what you had to do, but I think it was people with the highest amount of savings in the region got to get a picture with him. And so it was really cool. And I'm going to frame that and put that in my office next summer. And so lead by example too. And just some good questions is that I always ask myself, and you should ask yourself too, is who do you want to be? And what kind of impact do you want to make? Do you want to just be the person like me over the past 3 years or a couple of years that I went through Leadership Academy, where I wasn't taking it seriously and I wasn't doing the right actions, and it was just constantly this feeling of, like, I wasn't good enough, but it was only because I wasn't actually doing what I needed to do. And now at the point where I'm at is I am doing the right things and I feel way more confident. And so it's really just a decision. And then any business owner ever will tell you that it's super important to have savings when you're starting any type of business. So most people have investors, similar to the startup that we're given. So it's all just about how you think about it. Next part is you locals that are, like, in AM right now, or you're on pay. You should put your AM pay on 100% withholding. So if I understand that it's difficult in school to be a manager, I've done it all, every single thing that you could think of. And so you shouldn't rely on your AM pay as, like, your weekly paycheck. It's just a really bad habit to get into. You should always have your AM pay on 100% withholdings. And the reason for that is because AM pay is designed to really just help you save for a branch, or even just start a savings branch, just have that habit of saving. And so go sell if you're broke, like, for real. And I really think that no one's ever too busy. And I've been doing mentorship with Matt Foss, and we're in this group mentorship program, me and Britton. And we just had to think about time management this last week. And he was talking about, like, how to manage your time and how to have a mindset about your time. And I just thought it was really funny. What he said was that if you think you're too busy, I can promise you You're not. There's always someone that's busier. And you're not special. So no excuses. He said no effing excuses. I love that. So think about your schedule and adapt this mindset where you have the schedule of a CEO. And I love that. Follow the schedule of a CEO and learn how to manage yourself and your time, because really the big money opportunity here is through selling. And as busy as you are, Matt coached someone that was taking 20 credits. He's like a biology major. He was booked every single day of the week, pretty much 7 days a week, but he only had time to do 4 demos a week or something like that. And he still sold $30,000 and won an All-American scholarship. And so I look at people like that do find a way. And so a lot of us aren't even that busy. And so it's just cool to think in that way, where try to not say, oh, I'm too busy, because this is your future right here. And so you have a decision to do that. And so you should want to sell, because that's the best way to make money, in any form. Sales is the best income producer for anyone, and no one would disagree with that in any kind of career field. Sales is the best. And so you're learning this right now. And so even to do what Nick was saying, just go after selling 10K if you have a crazy schedule. But I actually like the busyness and maxing out my schedule. And that's what I found is just being in this situation now that I do have a crazy schedule, and I have no blank space ever in my schedule. It feels really good, and I'm still having a ton of fun. I'm going to concerts and hanging out with friends and all this stuff, but I'm doing a lot more and creating a lot more action than I ever have. And that's why you should be personally selling and have your savings on 100% withholding, so you don't rely on that. And it's a big motivator too. If you don't have money, you're going to want to make money, right? So next thing that I want to hit on is just the expectations for branches and district managers. So if you're a branch, this is the number you want to write down. So depending on your territory, you need to have $2,000 to $5,000 in savings. Okay, so write that down. I recommend just have $5,000 in savings. So that's what I'm shooting after 6. Because the more you have in savings, the better territory you're going to get. Because that's where you're going to have more opportunity to produce more too, which Nick just said it, the manager makes the territory doesn't make the manager, but he's going to look at that and know who's taking it seriously. So for, a lot of people I think I don't know what all the territories are, but say you want a specific territory, how bad do you want it and how much are you going to work for it? So, also realize $2,000 in savings, that's just selling 10K. And Nick just talked about it. That's so you can do the math depending on your schedule. 1 order a week gets you that too, by the way. 1 extra order. And then district managers, if you're a district manager, you can write this down, but $5,000 to $10,000 in savings. So cash is confidence, and Nick was saying this earlier today when we were talking, but cash is confidence, scarcity, or abundance. And that really hit home for me, because I was like, that's so true. Every time that I've been low on cash, I've just been so much less confident about what I'm doing in the business, mainly. Personal sales fixes everything. So last couple of things. So everyone knows the term ABC, always be closing. So here's a new one for you guys. It's ABS, always be saving. And I just want to go through some tips for you guys on how to save more money, because for me, I'm terrible. I'm the person, I'm that customer that just says yes on the first question. And I found myself, I did that last week. A waitress was like, do you want to add all of the dips instead of just one? And I was like, yeah, go ahead. And it was an extra $8, and I didn't even realize that, but that's just me. And so I need to work on that too, is just learning to say no more. But always be saving. And so that doesn't always have to be in the sense of putting money in or withholdings all of the time. You should already be doing that. But here's some ideas just to think about and what you should implement. So when you go out to eat, don't get a fountain drink because that's $2 every single time. That adds up pretty quick. So instead of ordering a fountain drink, if you really want to, just tell yourself no and Venmo Nick $2 holdings. That will add up pretty quickly. If you eat out a lot, that'll add up pretty quickly. You probably shouldn't eat out a lot anyway too, because that's expensive. Make an actual budget and plan for the next 6 months. Have a weekly and a monthly budget. How much money are you going to have on entertainment, meals, gas, subscriptions? If you're a subscription person and you love streaming services, you should try to just condense that. I canceled a bunch of my subscriptions over the past couple of weeks, but if you have a subscription specifically that you know is holding you back from being your most productive, or like reaching your full potential, whatever that is, send Nick that money. Like, cancel that subscription and then send Nick that money of however much the subscription is every single month. I just canceled like HBO, and I was paying for all these ridiculous things, and so I canceled a bunch of them. And so I'm going to start sending that, money to Nick. So, lastly, just write down all the things that you spend money on the most, and then pick maybe a couple of those things that you're just going to quit spending that money on. Because in reality, we're all young, and it's just like, sometimes we think that we're just how money grows on trees. And so a lot of the time it's just not having the best awareness. And so I really recommend finding, resources like Dave Ramsey and reading those things and listening to podcasts. Go to Andrew Evans on Ace Weekly on his podcast and listen to like the financial podcast. It's great. And Nick wanted me to talk about this, and I think that this was just a really cool way to help you guys on if you're worrying about the $600 in savings or reaching your savings goal. So ask people for help. So only in $600 in savings, you have to hit it. You got to hit it. And $600 isn't a lot of money, which we'll talk about in a second, but don't be afraid to ask for money, because think about just like your birthdays and Christmas. Your family wants to support you, and so don't let your pride get in the way. If any of you are familiar with mission trips and how those work, you have to raise money for that. And so in those situations, you have no problem writing a letter and calling family and friends, asking them to support you in your mission trip. Well, this is an opportunity that's going to set you up for the next, however many years. Honestly, in my opinion, I think this opportunity this summer is going to set me up for the rest of my life. Like, I feel so confident that it's really going to put me in a position where I can get any job that I want. And so why would your family not want to support you in that? And so are you talking to your family about what this is and what it's going to do for you? $600, that's nothing. We always talk about that. $600 is nothing when it comes to selling like an essentials or galley set. All the time we talk about that. And so why are you afraid to ask your parents? When you're running a branch, by the way, $600, that's like 2 reps hitting the first. You would make that back right away. And so if you just got a business loan from your parents, you could pay them back in the first training class of the summer. So you can think about it in that way. Also, you could ask 6 people for $100. Or think about this. Nick was telling me that one of his guys, Parker, when he was in Colorado, Parker sold his drum set for $1,200, and then he killed it over branch. And then at the end of the summer, he bought a $2,200 set of drums at the end of the summer. So he got a way better set anyway. So what are some of those things that you might be able to sell that are good? And some of you guys have, Pokemon cards. I've heard you can make some good money off of that. So think about those things that you could do to make this, because Olean is the coolest trip I've ever been. You have to go. And so if you're not signed up, you have to do it. I have some awesome stories. So if you want to hear some stories, shoot me a call. I'll tell you the stories. They're funny. But you just have to go to experience it for yourself, and really see the full picture of Cutco, even if you end up not running a branch, because I went to Olean and I didn't run a branch immediately that summer. But now I know, and I have that experience. I really don't think I would have been as convicted in Cutco. I don't think my sales would have increased. I don't think I would have the average order and the show percentage that I have if I didn't attend this trip. So if you're not sure what you're wanting to do or what's going to happen in the next 6 months, so what? Just send it and go and sell freaking Homemaker and put the $600 in savings, hit 6K. You will not regret it. And if you do, you're probably just crazy, honestly, because no one's ever regretted going to Olean. And so I'll end everything because I know I'm going over time. I always do that. I'm sorry. But I'll end on this quote from Warren Buffett, and I loved it. But do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Let's give her a round of applause. Very nice work. Thank you, Claire. And some really good nuggets. I was sitting there just hearing them, relearning them, how powerful they are. If you didn't know this, sales is the second highest paid profession in the world. Second only to professional athletes and celebrities. So unless you got a plan to become the next Brad Pitt, right? Or the next, wide receiver, quarterback, right? Something like that, right? And what it can do for you and where it can take you. Pretty powerful stuff. So we'll get this linked back up. Thank you very much, Claire. I'm going to unpin your video and hopefully we can get rolling back up with things. So for everybody, here's the deal. I think that we all need to just remember something. One of those main things that we need to think about is as we're going through savings, right? What could $25 a week do, right? Yes or yes, we all blow $25 cumulatively every week, right? Yeah. Well, if you save $25 a week, you're saving $100 a month. You save $100 a month, you're saving $800 to $1,000 by next summer. On top of AM pay, right? On top of you selling your land homemaker to account for it, on top of a lot of other benefits of that as well. Everybody with me on that? So I think that's really important to think about and to consider for yourself as we move forward. So that being said, I'll pin my video. I'm going to be the next speaker as we jump in and we'll get things rocking and rolling. So I've got some documents, I got some handouts I passed out, some things that you guys can check out and look at. I'm going to bring the screen back onto mine because I'm going to be doing a lot of screen sharing as we move forward. But one of the things I just wanted to echo is understanding that when it comes to savings, guys, $600, how many of you know people that have borrowed $600 or more from their family to pay for schooling or to pay for books or to pay for something, right? Mom and dad have covered that for you. Well, why not ask them to invest in your future? Right? Because when you go to school, there's no promise that you're going to make money. When you get an education, there's no promise you're going to get a degree in that field, right? And most people just carry that debt over. But with a job like ours, we're literally telling you we're going to pay you money, right? You run your own office, we're going to give you $8,000, but then we're also going to pay you to run your office. Then we're going to give you direct 50% at the end, right? So this is a guaranteed way for you to pay them back. But whatever it takes, find a way. Don't be afraid to ask for a free business loan, right? You ask 6 different people to borrow $100. I'm sure we can all think of 6 people to borrow $100 from, right? And then you pay them back with interest. 20% interest, right? That's you pay them back $120. But if you ask 6 people, right, you borrowed $600, you pay them back $720. I got to remind you that $720 when you're at direct 50% is one signature set. If they do an interest-free loan, but if you are going to pay interest, right, then why not? I'd loan somebody that kind of money with the promise they'll pay me back. You with me on that? And honestly, with your personal sales development, you could definitely pay them more too. So whatever it takes, let's find a way. Don't forget, we have until the 14th, $6K in sales, $600 in startup. I've had so many other stories, but thank you, Claire. Phenomenal message. And I'm excited about moving on with our agenda. So the next thing, if you want to take one of these, pass them around, Brandon, for everybody here. I'm going to share my screen right now, and I'm going to talk about how simple this business can be. This is not on the agenda, but I figured I'd redirect real quick, and I just want to get a couple of quick things knocked out. Why do reps sell? And for those of you that aren't selling right now, or you think you're too busy, or whatever Claire was mentioning, I got to talk about why reps sell. And I also got to share with you that she's so right. The busier you are, the more productive you become, and the more you learn. And I also got to share with you that, I had an experience my senior year. I was in 23 credit hours. I was on 2 men's soccer leagues. I was an assistant manager in my class, right, or in my office. And that semester, I set out to be the top 5 All-American. And I knew it was going to be a challenge. But I sold $36,000 in the matter of just 17 weeks. It means I made $18,000 in 17 weeks as a full-time college kid. By the way, I had Ding's List. Our office broke national records. I had bonus checks that were in the neighborhood of $2,000 and $3,000 for one-time direct deposit. My average order was $900. My closing percentage was 90%. I'm not sharing with any of you that to brag or to, talk about myself, but I'm sharing with you that that's the kind of opportunity you guys have right now. If you just get serious about it, right? And good news, I got number 5 All-American. It was a tough race. Number 1 did $110,000 to give you some awareness there, right? And these are only full-time students that are a part of this race, taking 12 credit hours or more. So what's possible if you just commit? What's possible if you just do it, if you just try? You never know what you're missing out on if you don't give it a shot, right? So what this document is right now, and all of you have this in your email unless you're new to the group, is why reps sell. And if you're not selling right now, ask yourself where you're at on these 3 levels. We say reps sell because they feel good, they have people to call, and they have a plan, right? So check in with self right now and figure this out. Recognition, appreciation, texts, phone calls, team meeting, relationships, and constant communication with their leaders and managers, right? How are you feeling right now? Because it's amazing how when you feel good, you do good things. And when you feel bad, you do bad things, right? It's interesting how that works in life, right? The second thing we have here is people to call. Names and numbers on your list, quality people, people you're excited about calling, and making sure that you always have enough, right? Do you have a top 20 hit list of MAC clients? Are you calling your top 100? Are you constantly building up your names list and working towards that, right? A chicken list. We talked big time about that this time last Leadership Academy, right? And then recommendations mastery, right? If I were you, I would be role-playing my recommendations approach, 16 to 17 in the manual, every day for 10 to 15 minutes until I had it down. Because if I memorize that one page, I never have to worry about money. I never have to worry about having a job. I never have to worry about having leads or people to call. And if I'm there, I'm great. And the third and final thing is they need a detailed plan. They need a schedule. When are they working? What are they doing during that work time, right? Is their planner filled out? I'm not surprised that a lot of times reps sell a ton in their first 3 days because we sit in training and we force them to take 4 days of a planner and circle every 2 hours, write in all their activities, and then go out there and book them up. It's not because it's people they know, it's because they have a plan that's detailed. When's the last time you sat down and made one for yourself? When's the last time you sat down with your manager and said, all right, on Tuesday, too busy, no demos, but I'll make calls. On Wednesday, I can do 1. On Thursday, team meeting, can't do that. Friday, I'll do 2. Saturday, I'll do 3. Sunday's my family day. And on Monday, the last day of the week, I'll try to do 1 more. I add that up. That equals, I don't know, whatever, 8 or 10. I could do 10 demos for the week. What if I did 10 demos this week? Well, I'd probably close on 6 or 7 of those. And if I close $300, I'd sell like 1,800 to $2,000. If I sold 1,800 to $2,000 and I was making 20%, I'd make in the neighborhood of like $400. And if I was at 30%, I'd make $600. These are not 2-week paychecks, by the way. These are every week. So if reps in your office right now, or you're one of those reps that isn't selling, here's why. It's because A, you're not feeling good, so we need a confidence boost, right? And I've been talking about that forever. Mindset over skill set. Where's your mindset at right now, right? Selling Cutco's fun. Selling Cutco's simple. Not saying it's easy, but we've got a bulletproof program that if you follow, people get results, right? And we have so many people who've never done sales that got those results. You've been one of them, right? People to call. Do you know who you want to target? Do you know who you're excited about? One of my favorite exercises is best 5. Write them out. What do you think they'll get? Oh my gosh, they tried 3,500. Well, why aren't we calling these people 3 times a day? Right? All of your financial problems can be fixed with just those few simple calls or demos. Let's get them done. Right? And the last thing is making sure they have a schedule, making sure they have a plan, and making sure that they are targeting hitting the newsletter. I also want you to write down in your notes right now the newsletter. And the newsletter is so critical, guys. It takes $1,000 to be on the Region newsletter, and we need to get back to having that culture. Right? If you're not shipping $1,000, here's the number one reason. You're not completing 5 quality demos. And if you are completing 5 quality demos and you didn't hit the newsletter, well, you just had a bad week. And we all know that after every bad week comes a what? So do the 5 demos. But if you didn't hit $1,000 in sales last week, I'll tell you why. It's because you didn't do 5 quality demos. Almost 90% or more of the time, when reps go out and do 5 quality demos, they sell $1,000. So what are you doing to make sure you always have 5 ahead and work towards some of those common goals? Does that make sense? All right. So that being said, now that we've got all of this, right, what I want to talk about next is I want to talk a little bit more about how you're helping your office accomplish one simple mission. And again, a lot of this is not on the agenda, but I want everybody to hear this because I think it's really critical that we're doing some of these things. I don't have a document for this, so I will go ahead and, excuse me, hold on. I'll go ahead and pull it up on the PowerPoint over here, and then I will share it, maybe, on the flat screen. All right, computer's getting a little complicated here. See if it gets it all done. All right, so I will go ahead and do a screen share real quick over on the other one. There we go. Cool, and you guys can check it out. So hopefully this works and you guys are seeing this. But every office right now is committed to 4 simple things every week. And those of you who are involved in any district office operation, even those ones that are off at other schools and other places, we need your help with developing this kind of culture. So number 1, we're trying to book 50 PRs every week because we know that every 10 PRs we schedule for interviews, 1 launches. So if we're booking 50 PRs weekly, we're launching 5 new reps, most of them friends of friends, and we're developing that culture and creating more layers of development. Number 2, assistant manager personal sales, right? We want every office to be fully staffed, which is at least 7 assistant managers. And then, of course, we want those assistant managers to be consistently selling. We did the numbers breakdown at one of the previous leadership academies and how powerful it can be when we've got 7 people shipping 500 to 700 a week, right? And how that stacks up, okay? So just, again, always leading by example, actions speak louder than words. Number 3, a top 10 rep focus. Are we getting 10 people plugged into a system and a schedule that can help them accomplish $1,000 a week? Reps don't feel crappy when they're shipping 1,000 a week. If they're only making 10%, they made $100. They're making 15, $150, right? And 30%, $300. For a weekly paycheck, that's awesome. If you're 30% making $300, you're making $1,200 a month. Are you going to school? I'm not complaining about that. And with the price of Cutco now, how do you sell $1,000? I don't know, like 3 piece orders, 2 starter sets, 1 homemaker. I'm sorry, but if you're doing 5 demos, it doesn't really matter what you sell. Every sale is a good sale, and it counts towards that goal. With 100 different items that we offer now, with cookware, with flatware, right, with the deals that you can do, with the payment plans that we can do. Are you kidding me? Selling Cutco is simple. We just got to do the work, right? The hard part is just getting in front of people. But if you're consistent with the actions, the results will come. And the last one is helping with Training Group Pop, doing stop-bys, introducing yourself, telling more stories, being a better leader on GroupMe, right? Setting the standard and the example for people. But if we're getting great pop, these 4 things happen. Every one of our offices is taking it to a whole nother level. We're having a bigger fall campaign than we did in the summer campaign, and we are all extremely profitable, especially if you're making money off of the AM pay. Sound fair? So just wanted to stop by on that document real quick because I think it's really important to cover. Sound fair? All right, awesome. So let's dive into our recruiting teaching topic. I am so excited to talk about this. I'm so excited to share it with you. This is one of my favorite things to do, and that is to create vision. Okay, I heard a quote last year at SLC from Al DiLeonardo. He's our president of Vector East, and he says that as a leader, your vision has to be big enough to fit everybody's vision that you manage and mentor inside of it, as well as your own. So candidates right now, my question to you is, what is the vision of your office? And how often are you talking about it? What is the vision of your current office? And how often are you talking about that? The beautiful thing about vision is you can't be wrong, because what you're talking about is not what's happening. You're talking about what's possible, what you're working towards. And people love to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves. So if you don't have a vision, that's all right. But I have a vision, and it's big enough to fit every one of your visions in. Also, our division has a vision of how much next year? How much? How much? All right. Every single interview, that should be spoken about. Every training, that should be spoken about. Are we talking about what we're branding ourselves on, how we're the fastest growing division in the company? And you might not feel great about it because you're the only one in your office or the only one that's running that 1-person interview. But some of our best people come from 1-person interviews. Some of our best people come from 1-person trainings. And they don't know any different. So are we treating every single person we talk to like they're the only person we're going to talk to that day? Are we casting vision and belief? Do we have conviction behind what we're doing and what we're building? They appreciate it. My question to you is, what if you were to walk in the interview that some of you are running right now? Would you be attracted to the opportunity, knowing how great it is versus how you showed up for that interview? What if your sibling, like a sister or a brother, were to walk into one of the interviews that's being run in your office? Would they be impressed by that? Because this stuff can happen any day. Lloyd Reagan's son just went and worked for Vector this summer and went into Stacy Campbell's office. Can you imagine being the rep or the assistant manager that had to run the interview for the region manager's son, and the pressure that can come behind that? Happened yesterday at UCO. Timmy, my wife, had a classmate that's into sales and talked to him in class and said, oh yeah, I'm going to go drop off coffee to my husband. And she's like, oh, is that the career fair? She's like, yeah. Oh, what does he do? She mentioned Vector. This girl was like, oh my gosh, this sounds like my thing. And then went in and then came in for the interview today and is now set for training coming up. You never know who you're going to meet. She's showing up at your level 10 best for every single interview you run. Does that make sense? So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up after the video. Let's talk about our process of running an interview. Step one is they come in and they fill out the application and they have what we call a pre-interview. Okay, this is a one-on-one or two-on-one interaction with the manager. Get to know them better. Make sure there's no red flags on the application. Make sure they feel comfortable and confident in the interviewing process and in the position, and explain a little bit about the job. Put them back in the group interview room, right? At that point, what do? When we finish doing all the pre-interviews, we go ahead and do our opening comments, right? So I'm going to share real quick what the opening can look like. We've already role-played this. This was in Leadership Academy, number 1 and number 2. But right now is a great time for all of you to get out your Vector video interview packet, right? And just to be clear, when you're coming to Leadership Academy, guys, you should create a binder and a folder, just like you're in school in a class, with everything we give you, all the handouts, all the documents. Those of you that are doing this virtually, save it in a file on your phone and computer. But again, get this guy out so you can take some notes on it and be prepared, right? And those of you that are actively in an office running interviews, well, never do a demo without having your training manual, never run an interview without one of these too, right? So keep that in mind. And if you need to, Ayami can probably print you copies if you're here locally. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll to the second page, right? And this is where it says the group interview. So let's go ahead and go through this real quick, and we'll roll over it, right? So the group interview, here we go. And what this has to do with, actually, you know what? For those of you that are in person, if you don't have one, that wasn't good. It's going to not keep sharing. So let me stop share, go over here. I'll move this over. You all right? Yeah, can't find it. No worries. We can always get you another one. All right, and then now I can do the group share, and we'll do the video interview. All right, here we are. Cool, so here's the video interview. Everybody can hopefully see it. So now we do the introduction, who we are, how we got promoted, what our personal story is, get them into the actual video and play the assessment, and we're rocking and rolling, right? Now right here, before it says wrap up, I want to talk a little bit about how you show up after the interview. And right now, this is the way we're currently running things. By next summer, there's a chance that with the video interview and the pauses, we're actually going to use those pauses to talk for 2 or 3 minutes, play the video. Talk for 2 or 3 minutes, play the video, right? Alex Meserek is doing a phenomenal job with enhancing the interview process for people and their experience, and he's going to be giving a message at SLC that might change the dynamic as we move into the spring. But that being said, right now is what we're currently teaching, right? So the first thing that I do after the video plays, and these are some one-liners that I use, is I say, great guys, well now you know about our people and our products or programs. What you don't know about is our products. So let me go ahead and show you a couple. Does anybody have a penny? And this is where we do the penny cutting demo and the super shears. I want to remind everybody that when you're doing the products, you're not trying to sell Cutco. Let Cutco do its job. You're just trying to show it. So we're not doing a full-on demo. We're not getting super excited about cutting a penny and trying to make like the awesome shapes. We're literally just like matter of fact, right? Hey, if I were to normally do this to a penny, what would normally happen? Yeah, this would break. Cool. And then we cut through it, right? And after we do the penny, we say, great, what was more impressive, me or the product? Product, exactly. Do you think I'm looking for salespeople here? Absolutely not. I'm just looking for people who can nod their head, smile, and cut a penny. If they can do that, they're probably going to sell stuff. Now, we're not known for our cutlery. We're actually most well known for our, right, or for our scissors. We're also most well known for our cutlery. So does this look like a normal steak knife? And I show them a crappy steak knife. Then I take out a table knife, and then we do the leather demo, right? And how do you think people react to that? Awesome. Almost all of our sets come with sets of these. Right? And we have 17 different sets, so we can find a set for everybody. We also make over 100 different products, including things like flatware and cookware. We also make other items, including gardening tools, barbecue tools. We even make hunting, fishing, and sporting knives too. So do you think we can probably find something for anybody? Yeah. And all the interviewers are saying yes. I say great. And the last major thing that we're known for is our outdoor items. So does anybody here like to fish? Hands go up. Great. Maybe you know somebody likes to fish? Yes. And then I demonstrate the fisherman solution, right? And I talk about how awesome it is, talk about how it's made a #1 by Peterson's Fishing Guide. And after I'm done with that, I go ahead and finish up the products. I'm passing things around. It's interactive. And this is where I really think people buy into the job. Prior to that, it's like, all right, cool video, cool opportunity. Maybe it's mine. But then they see the product, and that's the difference, right? If you've been running interviews and you look on their assessment sheet at the bottom, what attracted them most or what they're most impressed with, almost always product is on there, right? So my question to you is, are we doing a healthy product section during our interview? And then right after that, I dive in back to the PowerPoint, right? And again, the video is great. It's embedded in the PowerPoint, but then I start to go through the PowerPoint. And the PowerPoint has to do with the wrap up down here. So let's go ahead and look at it, right? And it says, great. Well, as we're building our championship team and top level organization, right, to wrap this portion up, I want to share a little bit about our team. What we look for in our successful reps is that they have 3 fundamental traits. Number 1, they have a positive attitude. I love coming to work because of the quality of people that I get to work with, and negative people suck, so we just don't let them work here. And everybody laughs about that. That's my personality. You don't have to say that, but that's where they're like, all right, cool. You know, and you can even ask, has anybody ever had a job where like the people are pretty negative? Everybody's hand will go up. And it's like, yeah, well, we don't have to deal with that here because we don't even work with them. And that's just one more reason why they want to buy in. The second thing I say is they display a strong work ethic. We're looking for people who work hard. Now, just to be clear, I know a lot of you are busy and you have class. We don't expect our people to work all the time, but we do expect that when they work, they do their best. Because lazy people, there's a lot of jobs you can be lazy with out there in the world. This is not one of them. Because lazy people end up not putting in the effort, not putting in the work, and because of that, they end up failing at the position. Right? So the last thing we look for is somebody who is coachable, somebody who can follow our program. Guys, I've had some really cocky people come through, and even though they might have gotten results in some sales, they represented us the wrong way, and that damages our brand and our reputation throughout the whole city and hurts other people's opportunity. So you understand why we can't afford to do that? So as long as I can find somebody who's coachable, positive, and hardworking, I can definitely help them and train them to succeed. Now, that doesn't mean everybody does well at the job, and this is where we move into the next part right here. What I've noticed is that 80% of the people that go through our training end up loving it. They get great experience and they make great money. By the way, 20% don't. Some of those have even been some of my close friends. And I don't think that's because they're a bad person or we're a bad company. It just takes the right type of personality and work ethic to do a job like this. And people all nod their heads. But what you're doing there is giving them permission to give it a shot for 2 weeks. What's the worst thing that happens? Everybody with me on that? And then after that, you say, great. Well, what I love most about working here, and then you go into the PowerPoint. So guys, before I wrap up the interview, I want to talk about some of the main perks of the job and the things that I love most about it. And this is where I'm starting to talk about all the different things that are on here, right? And every PowerPoint, every office is different, but I love talking about the income. And we've got photos of people holding up Common Club paychecks and talking about how we get paid every single week, right? We also talk and brag a little bit more about travel and team and the fun, right? We talk about the experience. We talk about the competition. Every stump speech is a little bit different. I'm going to help you write one of those. But what do you truly love about Vector? And are you sharing your own stories? Are you sharing your own opportunities? And if you don't have a lot of exciting ones, share other people's. When I was new at this job, right, I wasn't the one traveling the world all the time, but my manager was. So I bragged about where he'd gone. I bragged about what he had done. I bragged about all the opportunities, right? You know, even if you're not the one driving a brand new black BMW right now, you can talk about all the people that are and how cool that is and how you eventually want to get to that point. Right? And these are all options for us. Everybody with me on that? So we need to be discussing that. Another main thing that we need to do, and I forgot to mention this right after the product section, is I also like to cover 2 main points. And I would write these into your script or whatever it is. Number 1 is making sure we review the pay. And number 2 is making sure we review the price. I know I'm doing this out of order, but I did demonstrate the products. And then before I jump in to this part right here, where I talk about what we're looking for in a successful rep, I like to cover our pay. Hey guys, I just want to cover a couple last things. The first thing is the pay. I know the video is a national video, so it uses a base pay of $15, but in our office, we're one of the top divisions and one of the top offices. Therefore, we offer a higher pay. So here at our office, we do offer an $18 base pay. Now, again, that's always guaranteed. Our reps always have that to fall back on. But what do you think most of our reps make more money on, base pay or incentive? At that point, they've watched the video, so they all say what? Incentive. And it's like, yeah, so most of our reps make a heck of a lot more than that, but never less than that. Sound good? And the reason why is because, and this is where I go into the price point, because of the price. We don't mark our products up, we don't sell them in stores, and we don't advertise. So our products are twice as good as what's in stores, and we're half their price. Do you say why they're so attractive to our clients? What's also nice about this is we have pieces range anywhere between $50 and $200. We have sets that start around $200 and then go up to well over $2,000. Now that might sound like a lot of money to you, but for somebody who's in their kitchen every day, they buy it once, they use it every day, and they never have to replace it, that's so affordable. And the reason it's affordable is because of our payment plans. In fact, our average sale here is about $350 from a client, and our average closing is that they buy 7 out of 10 times. So isn't that cool that our reps are getting told yes a lot more than they're getting told no? And isn't it cool that also when they do get a yes, it's a pretty solid sale? Yeah. And the reason that $350 is our average order is because any order can be put on payments up to 5 months. No interest, no contract, and no credit check. So they can take the full amount of the product charge and divide it into one charge now. We ship it to them right away, and then they pay another charge every month after that. By the way, the rep gets paid in full, and the product is shipped to the client right away. So that means a $300 order, guys, comes out to only $60 a month. Do you think most families can afford $60 a month? Yes. Absolutely. So do you see why we sold $250 million last year? And do you see why we have 20 million clients that love enjoying products like ours? Cool. And I'm nodding my head. So I forgot to mention that, but I cover that right there, and then we dive in to the rest of this. Everybody with me on that? The last part of the perks, right, is we talk about how we loan our reps $400 for the brand new Cutco. While most sales companies charge a buy-in or they charge a monthly membership, we don't. Years ago, we used to, but we don't do that anymore. We just trust our reps to borrow $400 worth of our product, demonstrate it, and use it at home. Do you see why we're so selective with who we put on the team? We have to be. So one more push away for them, right? And then I say, when they're done working, they bring it back and they leave it with us. Or if they ever want to, the company gives them a 75% discount. It's brand new Cutco. It's guaranteed forever, right? And they're getting 75% off. So eventually, once our reps make some good money, what do you think they do? They buy it. Yeah, exactly. And the cool perk of buying it is once they buy it, they become a rep for life, which means now they can sell Cutco whenever, wherever, forever. If I have a bigger group, I'll always ask this question. Does anybody here know who Johnny Barfield is? And everybody says, nope. And I say, cool. Well, me neither. Johnny Barfield worked for our company over 10 years ago. He purchased his sample kit. He's at about 10K in sales. And every couple months, Johnny Barfield puts through a couple of orders. I've texted him. I've emailed him. I've called him. And he doesn't respond because he just wants to do his own thing. And it's in his own right because he bought his kit. And by the way, the funny part is as I'm talking about that, guess who's number 10 in our office for the first couple of weeks? Johnny Barfield. Right? So like I did not make that up just now. I've been saying that story for 3 years since I've been out in Oklahoma. And literally the last 2 weeks, Johnny Barfield processed a couple more orders. I'm not even going to reach out to him this time because I've tried for 3 years and I still get ignored. My point is this. I'm telling a story about the benefit of borrowing a kit. Yes? All right. Back into it. I know everybody got excited. Maybe you're finally paying attention. All right. So that being said, after I do that, I dive into stump speech. And the last part of the interview is we're looking for some great additions to our team, the Great Plains Division. And we are not the number 1 ranked division, but we are the number 1 fastest growing division in the company. Our division manager is Nick Matlack, right? He's been in the business for 13 years. Again, you might have to re-script some of that, so figure that out. Brag about me, build me up. Again, I want to work for a company like most people do that has great leadership, right? And if they know that there's a veteran 13 version, like $13 million man, or I'm at 15 million now, right? But here's the deal, right? If we know those things, if they know those things, there's a photo of me with my amazing beard, that's the reason they're going to show up. I'm just kidding. But again, build up the leadership, build up the management, right? Bailey's like, that's why I came in. Anyway, so our 10 national titles, right? And then you talk about our office, brag on your district manager or brag on yourself, and then talk about your goals before you send them into the assessment sheet and the personal recruiting part. Does that make sense? So what I'm going to talk about right now is the importance of developing and building a stump speech. And some of you might look at this, at that document, and you're like, dude, why is it not scripted out word for word? Why don't you have things like how to promote the income or the travel or the experiments or the development? And here's why. Because if we script it out, it's not authentic. If we script it out, it's not genuine. If we script it out, it's not coming from the heart, and you're not going to run the interview with the same amount of passion you would if you were just scripting something and reading it. Does that make sense? So when we wrote the video interview script, which, by the way, I flew to Denver a couple of years ago with Drew Frank, Wes Frank, and Kevin Barth, and for 2 days, we literally hashed it out and wrote this document together, okay? When that happened, we thought about that, and we decided not to because we want you to own it. We want you to tell your own examples and your own stories. But let me ask you this. Do you think the stories that you tell make the difference in people showing up and not showing up to training? 100%. So here's your second assignment, right? Earlier today, we said, what's the first assignment? And that is How are you going to have scary growth for October? Yeah. Here's the second assignment. The second assignment is you need to script out, which means you write it out and send it to me, send it to your manager. What is, right, your stump speech and your wrap up to an interview? And for those of you like Ayame, right, and veterans like Bailey and Melissa, you guys have never done this, I doubt. And if you were to actually write it out, it would force you to think about the words that you're saying. It would force you to think about the stories that you're telling, and you would have so much deeper conviction in what you're actually sharing in every interview that you run. And if you're already getting good shows to training, imagine what happens when you script that out and memorize it. Not to mention, when it's written out word for word, I can read it, compare it to your recording, and I can also read over it and say, hey, why don't you add this? Or if you thought about this, and I can give you feedback. But again, we all need to act as if we're going to run an office, because if you're not going to run an office, what are you going to do? Quit Vector? I mean, that's an option, but most likely if you don't run an office, you're going to help run an office, and you're going to be doing the same things as you'd be doing if you were running an office, right? So it doesn't matter if you're going to run an office or not. These assignments are critical, and they're important for your future. Everybody good on that? All right. So next document we're going to pass out right now is right here. It's how to write a stump speech. So if everybody wants to grab one of these, kind of pass it around, I will share my screen again. And this is something from Drew Frank. There's a couple different versions of this as we move forward. And as you're doing this, I want you to be thinking about how you want to write your own stump speech, right? What that looks like and how you do it, okay? So here it is. And again, I will pull this, oh, that's not gonna work. Well, you guys all have a physical document. So let's go through it together, right? But it says right on here, how to write a stump speech. Well, where should you be promoting your stump speech? Everywhere. Your stump speech needs to be a part of every interview. Your stump speech needs to be a part of every training. Your stump speech should be at every team meeting, what we're doing, what we represent, what we're working towards, and it should be in every opportunity message. PCs, PDI, right? Reminding people about the vision, why we're here, why they're important to the team, and how every single rep counts. Every order matters, right? Plugging people in. People want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And this is mainly designed to be promoted during your interview, right? But the more you talk about your stump speech, the better it gets, the more conviction and belief you have behind it, right? And if you get good at this one thing, you'll be amazed at how much easier it is to attract people towards your team. Make sense? So let's walk through what the steps are, right? How do you write a stump speech? Well, we begin with talking about the current state of the office, where we're at. And for some of you, you don't like where you're at. Your office might not be that much fun, or it might not have that many people on the team. And that's okay. You don't need to negatively talk about your office, but you can be honest. Where we're at has to do with who we are, what we represent, our past successes, right? If I'm Carissa right now, my office might not be doing the best, but here's the deal. I can talk about how we're 141% in growth with sales for the year and like 78% in growth with recruiting. We're having our best year ever, and we just broke 100,000. And we got to remember, guys, comparison is the thief of joy. I get it. For all of us, you could look at Carissa's office and be like, only 100,000? The pilots are like 1 million. But an applicant that's out in North Tulsa does not know the difference. They don't know about the pilot. They don't know that we're $1 million. Does that make sense? So for them, $100,000 sounds pretty sexy. You with me on that? So instead of comparing yourself to where other offices are at, talk about what's happening. And if you don't want to talk about your office, talk about our company. Did you know that last week we sold $2.8 million worth of Cutco nationwide? Why not talk about the national sales report in every interview? You say that number and they're like, holy crap. Yeah, we're the knives. Awareness. And here's another thing. If you don't want to talk about the company, talk about the region. By the way, you're in the right place at the right time with the right people. The Southwest region, which is that entire map on the wall, yeah, the Southwest region is the number. I'm acting like I'm in an interview. Okay, some of you guys need to like pick up and role play here. All right, but I point to the map and I say, hey, that map, #1 region out of 6 in the company. By the way, we've been #1 for the last 4 years straight, and we continue to conquer being #1 year after year after year. Anybody like being part of a #1 team? And people raise their hands, right? This is how you're writing your stump speech. Awards and accolades, and talking about the present success, talking about growth, talking about how we just entered a brand new campaign. What that means is people keep their career sales, but it's a new campaign, which means everybody got put back to zero. So we have some new reps that are selling and performing big, and they're getting their names on top-level newsletters and the top 10 board in the office in their first week on the job. Isn't that cool? It's not uncommon for somebody to start with us right off the bat and in their first 2 weeks already be ranked in the top 10 because it's a new campaign. Again, depending on the season, this is all changing. This is all currently, adjusting, right? But you got to talk about the current state of your office. Everybody with me on that? All right. What's number 2? Talk about the future vision. This is about what we're building and where we're going, right? So what are the intangibles? Inspired by the vision of the future. Here's some good lines to write down and think about during that comment, right? Or during that section. What I love about the company is blank. What I love about our office is blank. I'm so excited about blank. Bruce Goodman, the president of Vector West, says there's only 2 things ever happening in your office. It's either what's exciting right now or what's going to be. And that's it. Other than that, we don't talk about the rest. It's not like it's the elephant in the room where we're ignorant towards it, right? But what else is there to be excited about? It's either where we're at right now or where we're headed next week. So the intangibles, right? And this is where your mission statement can come up. What is the mission? Our mission in the Fort Smith office, Arkansas, is to, right, help young people develop and grow the skills personally, professionally, and financially to become the best versions of themselves and change the world. We just happen to use Cutco and Vector as the vehicle to do that, right? Simple, succinct, impactful. So it's another assignment as part of the stump speech is what is your mission statement for your office? Go to your district manager and ask them what their mission statement is, right? And figure it out. Those are the intangibles, right? But the tangibles are on there too. Specific sales goals. The Norman office is dedicated to having the best campaign non-summer that we've ever had in corporate history. And the way we're going to do that is by X, Y, Z. These are easy things to recall. Here's what we're going for. Here's how we do it. Don't be afraid to talk about the size of your team. Don't be afraid to talk about how currently we have 3 assistant managers. We want to build that to having a total of 7. And in order to get that, we need to develop more recruits. Our goal this fall is to build a team and a sales force of 50 recruits and retain 30 to 40 of those. And I can't wait until we have team meetings of 30 and 40 people. It's going to be fire. They're going to have to bring like a chair from home because we're going to run out. No matter how silly it is, talk about it. Right? Remember a guy named Michael Athens. He's now a CGC, but he took full ownership of being a branch manager. And when he opened his branch, he called them the Wolf Pack. And no joke, at the end of the interview, after he had accepted them and given them all the paperwork, he said, cool, well, before you leave, one last test. And as long as you can do this, you can officially be part of our team. He said, we're the Wolf Pack, and we're known for being the loudest and most rambunctious team at all of the conferences. So I need you to give me your best wolf howl. And he literally said that in every post interview that summer. And by that point, people were so tied into the vision and what he was about in the Wolf Pack that like other applicants that hadn't had their post yet were scared to go in there because the last thing that would happen is somebody would be like, oh, right? And then they'd be like, high five, great job. The door would open and he'd go back in and grab the next person. But isn't that cool though? There's a little bit of that like uncertainty, like why am I hearing people yell and that maybe they're what I don't know, right? But it's cool. And you know what? He had over a 50% show to training by doing that because it was ownership and it was vision. And people wanted to buy into that no matter how silly it sounded. And you might say, well, what if somebody doesn't? Well, that's the one person. And by the way, he had one person. It was this old guy. He didn't want to howl. He thought it was silly. And he said, I'm sorry, man, if you can't howl, even if it's just a little bit, you can't be part of our team. And the guy's like, all right, well, I just don't really think that is for me. He said, all right, well, handshake, congratulations. Thanks for coming in. And, let me know if you want to reconsider. He lost one guy and he attracted hundreds. Full ownership, full vision, full conviction in what you do, right? And those are the tangibles. Okay, let's go through the good one-liners. When you have a championship team, how do you grow? By adding on more what? Wrong. By adding on more what? A championship team can only remain a championship team if it's adding on more what? Champions. So we're looking for champions here. We're looking for leaders. We're looking people that are above average. Are you telling them what you're looking for? We're looking to build around people with a consistent attitude, effort, and sales. We're looking for people who want to grow and become the best versions of themselves. right? I'm going to be working like a champion, but I can't do it myself. This is where we're going, and I'm 100% committed to that. We want as many people on board as possible, but we have standards, and we're only willing to work with people who can uphold those standards. We're not being rude. We're not being disrespectful. We're being honest. We're being genuine. We're being authentic, right? Another part of your stump speech should talk about your current development and staff. Currently, we have, and if you're a branch manager opening up, get this. David Romero, who did $400,000 this summer, by the way, the kid's 19, and after this summer, he's going to save over $60,000 in 3 months because he chose to take the risk and open up a district office. The dude's already earned over $100,000 in his first 4 months. Yeah, hashtag go DM. And you know how he did it? He opened up with nobody. In his first training class, he had 7 people on day 1. 6 of those came back to day 2. And during the second day, he did his stump speech and he said, so congratulations, because I have no staff and I have to show my manager that I have development, you guys have all just been promoted to AMIT. And he promoted them before they left training. Now, by the way, some of them took advantage of it, some of them didn't, and he started to replace them through the summer, but he's never had a week since week 1 that he had less than 7 people on AM pay and on his staff and management program. And his office did $400,000 this summer. Promote now, replace later. And even if it was your first week running these interviews for your office, hey, because we're a brand new office, people love being a part of something brand new, by the way. So those of you that are opening up your branches, this should not be a fear. This should be an excitement. By the way, because we're a brand new office, I'm looking to promote people quickly, and I'm looking for leaders. It's not uncommon during this season for me to find somebody and within their first 1 or 2 weeks, promote them into a leadership role. How long does it take to get promoted to a management position in most companies, right? Forever, blah, blah, blah. So we currently have blank on staff, and you can review them. You can brag about them. You can discuss them, have their photos on the PowerPoint. But what we're looking for, right, is growing, to having a full 7. The best thing about being an assistant manager is the personal and professional growth. They get more time from me. Their resume looks insane and stacked. Not to mention they have a dual income. They get paid for their personal sales and off the office, and they have an opportunity to advance into our Leadership Academy program, be a part and be associated with our division manager who successfully opened up like 40 plus offices and is over 15 million in sales. I mentioned him earlier. And then they have an opportunity to possibly run an office next year. Isn't that cool? So if you're looking for leadership or management, just draw an M at the top of your sheet in the upper right-hand corner. And that's something we can talk about when I pull you back for the post interview. And then we wrap up by talking about our staff goals. We're looking for blank many more people. Where do you think we're going to find them? Yeah, reps to start right here. Most of my staff will be running their own office next summer, so we'll need to redevelop more managers to replace them when they get promoted. So if you're interested in learning about management, right, put an M at the top of your acceptance criteria sheet. If it's training, the Fast Start is where we're training future leaders. Consistency and attitude, effort, and sales for all 10 days. If it's a training holdback right after day 1, hey, you're already being targeted. The opportunity is available. Go out there and prove yourself and earn the right. Earn the right. I'm constantly saying that. I love that phrase, earn the right. And at a team meeting, hey, come and see me during the phone jam. And let's be clear, what is the first step to management for anybody? The answer was right there based on what I just read at the bottom of that sheet. That's what we look for. But what's the first step? The first step is letting me know that you're what? Interested. It's that simple. By the way, I can't help you become a manager and a leader if I don't know you're interested in it. So step 1 is just writing an M at the top of your sheet, letting me know you're interested, and that's a conversation we can have when I meet with you one-on-one. Or step 1 is just coming to talk to me during the phone jam. And you'd be amazed at how many people don't tell you they're interested in management because they don't know they should. My first summer, we did $330,000. I also earned over 6 figures in my first 8 months. It was awesome when I ran a district in 2009. But I got to August, and after 4 months, I sat with Drew, and he's like, cool, tell me about your development for branch and district candidates. And I said, I don't have any. Nobody's interested in management. He said, is nobody interested in management, or is it that you haven't gotten people interested in management? I said, probably the second one. It's all right. Well, the first step is doing a stump speech and talking about it at your next team meeting. So I did. And there was a girl named Nicole Novell. She had barely even sold $500 after 2 to 3 weeks. She was flopping. I had 10, 15 people in my team meeting. It was so awesome. I did such a great job with my message. Then I said, cool. So the first step is letting me know you're interested, right? We jumped in the phone jam, wrapped up the meeting, and not one person came and talked to me until some people started leaving. And she finally mustered up the courage and she said, hey, can I talk to you real quick? And I said, yeah, what's up, Nicole? Well, I was really inspired by your message and I would like to know more about management and I want to go branch. Yeah, my only rep that talked to me, she was at $500. So I basically gave her a push away. I was like, all right, well, if you want to go to Olean, you got to save $600. You got to sell $6,000. I mean, you got to do all of it by the end of September. And, I wasn't really in, but I said, but I'll set up a meeting because she was my only one. We set up a meeting. I walked her through the documents. Literally 1 week later, she had gone home to Gallup. She had sold over $3,000, right? She also had her birthday coming up. So she talked to her grandfather and said, hey, Grandpa, I have this opportunity to open my own company. Grandpa cut a $600 check as her birthday gift. She literally called me out of the blue. She's like, hey, I just want to let you know I went home and I sold like $3,000. I just need to Rolo. Also that homemaker thing, I have one of my family members that wants to buy it to pay for my trip. And then also I just, my birthday's in a week and I asked my grandfather if he would invest into my business. And so he's got a check for $600. Who do I make it out to? Boom, boom, boom. Just so we're clear, she was one of 2 branch managers I ended up opening that year. She went up to Durango, Colorado. She ran top level branch, and then she met her fiance that summer, married him. They've got 3 kids in their dream home they built together in Durango. Vector literally led her to her dream life. And it all started because I mentioned it, and I said, if you're interested, come and tell me. Questions? Good. How many people are you holding back from true growth with Vector Marketing because you're not properly promoting what's possible here? Because you're not properly promoting the vision in your office and what we're all about and what we represent and what we do. Does that make sense? All right. That being said, right, I also want to share another document. Hopefully this is the right one. And if you guys all want to take this copy, go ahead and take one and pass it around. And this is another version of how to write a stump speech. This is from Kina Feldstein. So it says, deliver with reserved passion. Again, you're not too eager or too excited, but they should sense your excitement, but try to hold back and maintain professionalism. Annual or campaign revisions are important, or the vision will feel empty to your applicants, to you, and to your staff. So writing your stump speech now as if you're opening your office gives you the next 7 months to improve it, to internalize it, to get better at it, and to rewrite it, right? And there's probably a different stump speech for when you open an office compared to, right, your current office that you'd be running. So it says, define your office motto or culture. Brainstorm and create a list of what your ideal office looks like. In a dream world, what does the ideal office look like, right? How many leaders do you want to have? How many total reps on the team? What will other offices and reps say about your office at the conferences? Those of you who are opening and you're competing against others this summer, right? Do you want people to like fear you? Not in like a negative, like unhealthy way, but because they know the power of leadership and the power of your programs, right? And they're like, gosh, it's gonna be a tough push when I have to go up against Claire or Alex or Eric, right? Like they know these things, okay? Second one here is find a way to promote your division manager and the success of your division or region. There's always something to promote, guys. We're the #1 region. We're the fastest growing division, right? We have the #1 events team in the company. I mean, how good are you at really making it sound and being honest with what we're all about and what we've done? Next one here is provide proof of past successes. Have some photos, have some trophies, right? Have some stories, have some examples. And then of course, number 4 and 5, define your mission statement and rally cry. What's something that your recruits would get excited about? Being a part of something bigger than themselves, being a part of a championship team, being a part of something new, right? What's easy to stand behind that you can promote easily to family and friends? And what are your office goals? What story does your office currently have? Do you have the underdog story? That was one of my favorites. When nobody even saw us, we had the slowest start to the year, and it was like, yo, I don't know about you guys, but I love the underdog story, and that's exactly what we're writing right now. We've had a tough start to the campaign. We've had a tough start to the year, but we're making a comeback, and we're looking for champions and leaders who want to be a part of that. Sometimes those moments when I talked about that in my interviews were when people got the most bought in, right? Rather than, oh, you're already doing well. Because then they were like, no, you're doing well. You don't really need me. right? And then you start to get the feedback where it's like, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to take somebody else's spot that could truly give their best. So I don't know if I can give my best. And then it's actually a pushback. Does that make sense? So again, the underdog story is so powerful, right? Things like we've placed second every single year. We're building from scratch, or we've successfully proven the territory, but there's still a lot to prove. Being the best, winning a silver cup, having the first blank, right? I know Tyler's talked about breaking the Stillwater record and having the #1 office up there. Okay, casting your vision and painting the pictures. I can't wait for us to be on stage when. Imagine what this room will look like, right? It's going to be up there holding us. It's all going to be all of us up there holding that trophy. It's not my trophy. It's all of ours. We'll never forget who helped us get there. Having photos of your team, right, on all of the walls. That's something I know the pilot could improve with, is having a lot more faces on the wall, right? When the year finally comes to an end and we know that we hit it, it's going to be a really special moment. And we're looking for people who want to be a part of that. I can't wait to walk to the end of the year banquet with our team knowing that we just did the impossible. And you can make up any of your own lines, right? But when you think about that, just saying some of those things, I don't know about you, but I don't think it's cold in the room right now. I've got a jacket and a couple layers on. But I just got like tingles up my spine, right? I got like the hair raising because I'm like, dude, like that's truly what we can do. One of the things I love about Vector is that we can do whatever we want. We can build and create whatever we want. Does that make sense? So questions on this, comments, concerns, anything about writing your stump speech and taking full ownership of it as you move forward? Nuggets, did we learn? Do we have some work to do? Yeah. Absolutely, right? So here's the deal, right? Let's talk about some of our assignments, right, as we move forward. And then I've got the last part that we're going to wrap up with. So #1 assignment we talked about earlier. What does scary growth look like for October? What is your game plan? I need it texted to me, posted out there. What are you committed to? Instead of reading a book a month, could you read a book a week? Like scary hyper growth. Podcasts you're going to listen to. Habits you're going to change, right? Catching up with all the Leadership Academy assignments, savings goals, sales goals, right? Who you're becoming, energy, sleeping, eating, right? Exercising, like whatever it is, what is your game plan for absolutely hyper scary growth? Growing more in a month than you could in a year, right? What's the second assignment?
What's your stump speech?
What's your stump speech, right? And your wrap up. Scripting that out word for word, knowing what it is, talking to your manager about what the mission statement is in your office, and making sure that you have a solid PowerPoint with photos and comments, right? And you're nailing that thing. Cool? The third part is before next Leadership Academy, you need to record it and send it to me and your manager. I want to see your stump speech. I want to see your wrap up to your interview. Is it something that you're excited about me watching? Or is it something that you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this? And again, it's more for you than it is for me. One of the best ways to get better at something is the feedback loop, right? Okay, cool. And the last thing that we need to do is we need to start averaging 7+ PR names from every applicant in every interview. So those of you that are running interviews, right? Start to track it. Those of you who are not running interviews, set up a game plan and a timeline to run your first interview, right? And figure out when that is and what you're going to do to hit it. Everybody good on that? Okay, sweet. All right, good. Lastly, guys, what we need to talk about is we need to talk about PR name collection. I want to remind everybody, if you're considering running an office or not, here's a couple things we need to remember. First off, when it comes to running an office, right, it's as simple as 3 fundamental things. You want to run a top-level office, here's all you got to be good at. #1, running a strong interview. And that's why almost every Leadership Academy that's recorded, right, we always focus on interview topics. #2, you need to be really good at booking PRs and having a PR program. Now, having a strong PR program is literally collecting names, having a system to get them scheduled, and making sure that they show up to training. That's it. It's kind of like an engine, right? It's got 3 cylinders, boom, boom, boom. So right now we're going to talk about name collection from the interview. Cool? And the third and final component you need to be good at to run a top office is rep management. And we're not managing results. Results are the byproduct of us managing their behaviors, their actions, and their attitudes, right? Cool? And if you get good at those 3 things, you're going to run a top office. It's really a risk-free opportunity, right? If you do it right and you really develop and build the right skills. Sound cool? So somebody who I know has been absolutely cranking it when it comes to PR name collection is Ayame Palmer. And she is somebody who's got a really, really strong stump speech. I intentionally asked her, I did not tell her or put her on the agenda because I didn't want her preparing anything for this. I want you to literally see an authentic, genuine PR name collection. By the way, Ayame has been doing such an effective job that she's had applicants that literally gave at an interview 50 to 60 PR names out of the blue. Does that make sense? Like they filled out a page of 15 and asked for another sheet and asked for another sheet. We've been giving away peelers to the people that break the records and get a lot of names, right? And I'd say that her career average since she's taken over being a pilot is well over 7 at this point. Does that make sense? So what we're going to talk about is the actual interview right now, picking up right where I left off, and that is at the bottom right below the stump speech. You talk about the interview assessment sheet, and then the last thing you do is you talk about the PRs. And before I bring her up, she literally just ran an interview. You had 7 people show up. How many did you accept?
All 7.
All 7. 7 for 7. 7 showed up out of 14 that we had set for the interview. 50%, pretty strong. It's pretty normal. Actually, normal is like 35, so that was great. The power of campus and PRs. Hired all 7 of them. And what was your number 1 person? How many did the number 1 person give you?
It was 50 something.
But in this interview, what was the number 1 person?
50 something.
This interview, she literally just ran. She did this stump speech like 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. They gave her 50 plus names and numbers, right? Did you count up how many total you got from 7 people?
I did not have that.
Got it. Cool. But with 50, it's well over 7, obviously, right?
Yes.
And we got to remember that. All it takes is one person to get bought into sharing the opportunity with their friends and crushing it. Does that make sense? So she might be a little bit nervous, but don't be. Pretend that we're just your interview class, okay? I'm going to have you come up here on the screen, and I'm going to go ahead and have you do your stump speech. So everybody else, you should have your interview packet out. You should be looking at the interview assessment sheet and the PR name collection. I know you don't have the video and everything with the PowerPoint right now, but I'll let you hold on to this and everything. And basically, just start at interview assessment sheet. So that's pretty much the interview and details of the job. And then just burn through that. Just be yourself, do your thing.
So just just getting the names?
Yeah, interview assessments. It's like, you just went through the stump speech, our vision and everything. Now you're just saying, hey, go ahead and fill out your interview assessment sheet. I'll be meeting with you one-on-one.
Oh,
and then
got
again,
it.
you're just name collection. Like, hey, on the backside of your sheet, whatever you say, do it. We want it on recording, and everybody
Got
needs
it.
to do this.
Okay. Hi. Hello, everyone. So, I guess let's just get into it. So, great. So now that we are going to, if you could flip your pages over to the back, we are going to be filling out friends of friends. So who here heard the job through a friend? Great. So that's actually how we love getting people on the team, is through friends of friends. So the first thing that the reason why we're doing that is because you get to help your friends out. Whenever I was in the same position as you guys doing my interview, I wasn't really thinking about it. I just put down everybody who needed a job, who doesn't have a job, who's looking for extra income, who's in school. We're really flexible. So just put down anybody who you think you can. For me personally, it was one of my friends since I've known since kindergarten. After high school, we kind of lost connection. And so I jotted her down. Little did I know that she had been going through some things. So she came to the interview, she got accepted, and about 3 months into the job, she was already able to promote herself to an assistant manager in training. And then she was also doing that throughout the whole spring and the summer as well. And with this opportunity, it actually really twisted her life in a full 360. So you might know your friends, but you might not know your friend's situation. So I do encourage you to jot down anybody and everybody. The second thing is that you get to work with your friends. So who has a friend in mind that they think would be fun to work with? Yeah. So your best buddy, your pal, even your roommate maybe, just jot them down. I'm sure they're looking for work too. I have a lot of people who come in here with roommates that need jobs too. And then the third thing is that you can win some awesome prizes. So who likes some really awesome prizes, right? Well, we do have a record here. If you can get over 75 names, I have a little something for you. I don't want to tell you because I want to keep the suspense, but I have extra papers here. If you want to go ahead, take one, feel free. But if you beat the record, then I can give you something. And if you can't beat the record, icebreaker. If you feel like you don't know enough people, that's completely fine. The average is about 10 to 15. So I'll leave you to it. I'll play the music again, and then I'll come and check in on you guys whenever you're done. So please take your time. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Let's give her a huge round of applause. Very nice work. Oh, and real quick, by the way, awesome work. And you can see how it's so interactive. You can see how she gets people so involved. She's asking, like, who knows somebody like this? Or, hey, has anybody ever felt this way? I love your quote on how you might think you know your friends, but you might not know their situations. You never know who needs work, right? Another really quality line that we should be using there is, hey, guys, just to be clear, this is an invitation, not an obligation. And I know you say that all the time, but here's the deal. The last thing we'd want is for them to feel like if they don't give us names, that they're not going to get accepted, right? Like that is not okay, and that is unacceptable, right? Because that damages our reputation. So letting them know, hey, by the way, just to let you guys know, this is totally an invitation, not an obligation. If you don't write down names, we get it. But honestly, most people love to pay it forward. They love to help out their friends. And so most people are able to write down 5 to 10 names of some of their buddies. In fact, we've had people who love to write down more because they feel like all of their friends could benefit from an opportunity like this. I also think it's important to explain to them what we're going to be doing, right? So if you have your interview packet, that's important to get out. Excuse me. And as we wrap this up, I want to go back into the video interview, but some of the words that are on here, and again, I put her on the spot. She's got her own thing. Whatever she's doing is working. I think that's just a reminder to all of us that, like, hey, when you own something and you have deep conviction in it, you get results. Does that make sense? That's not permission to not follow the process of the manual, but definitely, just permission to make sure you take ownership. So let's look at this, right? Some of the words that are in the video interview packet that are right down here, it says, so when you're done, flip your sheet to the back. We love to build the team through friends of friends because it's way more fun that way. And in order to hit our goals, we need to build a team full of great people. We're one of the only companies that's consistently hiring. And the job market for college kids is pretty terrible. Can we agree? All right. So this is an invitation, not an obligation. But if you know anybody that's looking for work or you feel like could benefit from an opportunity like this, feel free to go ahead and jot their names down. By the way, does anybody in here know somebody who doesn't have a job? Okay, cool. Does anybody in here know somebody that has a part-time job, but they don't get enough hours at the job? Do you know something like that? Does anybody know somebody that just doesn't like their job and they've been looking for something new, but they feel stuck? Yeah, I think we all have these experiences. Or just somebody that loves money and that you think would really do well here. So here's the deal. Give them a courtesy text. If you write them down, we'll give them a courtesy text just to see if they're interested in applying. By the way, worst thing they say is no, but it doesn't bother us. We want to spread the word. Just so you know, if your friends ignore us, we won't hold it against you. We'll delete their number. If your friends respond rudely to us, no big deal. We won't respond back. We'll just delete their number. We've had bad days too. But we do want to make sure that we get the word out there. And I love this line. I always like to say, guys, I'm totally fine with somebody not being interested in the job. But what I'm not okay with is not people knowing that a great job like this exists. Can you guys relate with that? And people are like, yeah, for sure. And then I go into the last part and I say, this is a fun way to build a team and get great people. And it has no impact on your acceptance decision. By the way, if you are accepted for the position, you can work with your friends that you're recommending as well if they're accepted, and there are some prizes, trips, and scholarships that are available. So feel free to bust out your phone while you wait. Just make sure you knock out the questions on the front first. And then again, guys, don't be judgmental of your friends. If you know them and they're alive, feel free to write down as many names and numbers as you want. We definitely have a record here. It's 75. And if you break it, we have a little something, something for you. I don't know if I'd say it that way. Sometimes that can come off as the wrong thing. But I definitely have a prize or an incentive for you that can make a difference. And we'll go from there. So take your time. No rush at all. If you guys want to take your chairs, go back to where you're sitting for a little bit of space and a stretch break. I'll meet with you shortly. Turn on the radio and we wrap up. Cool. So now you've got a couple different variations, one of just literally reading it word for word, and then also one that's a little bit more evolved that Ayame's done that she was extremely good at. Sound cool? All right, awesome. So one more big round of applause for Ayame. Great job, and for being put on the spot. That was very incredible. All right, well, I know we've got a lot of great people on here, and as we wrap up, I do want to go ahead and share. For those of you who are watching the recording, take your notes, email them to your manager, let them know, and get all that done. And let's go ahead and wrap up with a few assignments as we are done. I know we're wrapping up a little bit early, so those of you that are in person right now, we're not done. We're going to go till 6:30, role-playing the script, right? And what we're going to be role-playing is your actual stump speech, right? and your PR script, right? Your name collection. So really, it's role playing the stump speech and the PR name collection. We want to do that 3 to 5 times each. Those of you watching the recording, you want to do that on your own. And again, documents should be in your email, or you can talk to your manager about that. So that's important too. Brendan, I need you to get my phone number if you don't have it, but I hope you do. And I need you to text me. You and I need to have a call. And whoever you brought, thanks for looking sharp with your tie. That's awesome. And we want to get you on the team too if you're not already. So here's the deal. Let's review assignments very rapidly, right? And then we'll wrap this recording up. Number 1 assignment is, how are you going to have scary growth for October? Scary being a good thing. Grow more in 1 month than you have in the last year. Hyper growth. What are the exercises? What are the objectives, right? What are the actions that you're committed to doing? Again, growth, right, is a choice. It doesn't happen just by showing up. You have to choose to grow. You have to be intentional about your growth. And I'm looking for people who want to grow at hyper levels in October, okay? Cool. Number 2 assignment, right, is you need to script out your wrap up to the interview and your stump speech, right? Have that scripted out, and don't forget, right, once you script it out, send it to your manager. Assignment number 3 is record yourself doing your wrap up and doing your stump speech for the interview. And make sure you send that to me as well as your manager. All right. Of course, if you haven't done the other assignments leading into this, let's get those done. And then just the main ones that we all know about, sign up for Olean. It's not too late to sign up. Veteran managers, who else can you get signed up? Okay. It was only last year that we had a guy named Mark Livermore start this week in September out of the Lawton office. And by the deadline of October 14th, he had already sold over $6,000 and had $600 in savings. He then went to Olean. He opened up his own office in Wichita Falls, Texas, and his office did over $80,000. He was the number 2 branch in our division. It is not too late. One more story. My first summer in 2009 as a district, I did $330,000 and $440 in the first 8 months. Like I said, made 6 figures. There's another girl named Lauren Bing. You know when Lauren started? She started at the end of November after the Olean trip as a rep. I had been in the business for 3 years. Lauren started as a rep in November. And she was coached and trained. She wasn't in school. She fully committed to the program. And by May, she opened up a district office the same week I did. Her office did $400,000 in the summer and $540,000 in the first 8 months. She beat me by $100,000. And she started as a sales rep in November. I had been in the company for 3 years and been an assistant, a branch, and a pilot for a summer. That's what this business provides. Anybody that wants to take advantage of it, it's out there for you. Does that make sense? It's not too late to sign up for Olean. It's not too late to go. Cool? Deadline to sign up for Olean is October 8th. Get signed up. Talk to me about it. All you have to be at is 2K in career sales to sign up. And the deadline to be over 600 in the company savings and 6,000 in sales is by the 14th of October. Cool? But don't forget, we have a division meeting coming up in about 30 minutes. And then right after that, right, we have a 4-day push period for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So make sure you look forward to that as well, okay? And let's get those assignments knocked out. And then lastly, I always like to make sure that at the end of everything I do, I plan out the next time we're going to do it. So take out your planners right now. And all of these dates are already in the calendar. They're already on the Leadership Academy document. We have everything planned out all the way until you literally open your doors to run an office. But what you got to remember is October is a very important month. So we're running this Leadership Academy now. We have moved up next month by a week for 2 main reasons. Number 1, we want to make sure we impact you before Olean. And number 2, we want to make sure we don't conflict with Olean, right? So the next Leadership Academy and division meeting is on October 17th. For UCO, for OU, for OSU, and a lot of other big schools, fall break is the 17th and 18th. And I want to make sure this is clear to everybody, right? The reason we're intentionally putting the Leadership Academy on the 17th is because the Olean push period, which is competition against the rest of the region to win a customized, engraved, actual K-bar knife that you can't even buy, right? Okay, top 7 win, starts on the 14th of October. I'll send out promotion packages to look forward to it. So anything you sell from the 14th till the 24th, when you go out to Olean, it's a 10-day push, counts for the contest. So we're having this Leadership Academy on the 17th, so that way you can finish your midterms on the 15th and 16th, do your homework and projects on the 16th and the morning of the 17th, and come here to Edmond in person, dress nice for the next Leadership Academy on the 17th. Again, 4 to 6:30, be a part of the division meeting, right? And if you've got all of your midterms and all of your products nailed and knocked out by that point, you can go and hang out and have fun on Thursday night the 17th and take advantage of sales and relaxation for all of the 18th, 19th, and 20th and get ahead of your studies so that you can go to Olean the following week on the 24th through the 27th and not feel like you're behind or missing out on school, okay? Tomorrow, I'm also going to be sending out a letter of excusal to all of you signed up for Olean, so you can print that and share it with your teachers, your dean, or your professors to make sure that we can get you excused from class, okay? It's a very professional letter. I'll get that out to you as well. And then don't forget, we have that push period, right? So be prepared to have a ton of demos and go big for the 18th, 19th, and 20th before you get back into class after fall break moving forward. Cool? Questions, comments, concerns? Thanks for a phenomenal Leadership Academy. We've got 15 minutes right now to get your role playing done. Those of you watching the recording, don't forget to send your notes to your manager. And I'm so fired up about $4 million in 2020. I'm so fired up about creating more leaders and champions on the team. And if you're not getting a weekly coaching call for 15 to 20 minutes with me, text me immediately. Let's get that set up because I am looking for another 5 to 10 people we can sign up for Olean and get to that conference. Sound good? All right. Awesome. We will see you in a month.